And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. I am Sarah the Raging Tomato here interviewing live Dan from Men Need to Be Heard. I love this. It's interesting to me. Most of the time we find women are often in the more victim role and we kind of cater and aid to that the most. But Dan here has a whole nother concept that men are kind of more, I guess you would say more, they need more advocacy. Am I on the same in the right
That's a fair
path?
way to put it, Sarah. Yeah, I would agree with that. It's men need to be heard. Hey, what a tie in there. It's actually
It
how that's actually how I came up with the name for my channels is, as I'm sure you know, you're trying to figure out how do I name this and all this stuff,
Mhm.
right? And so I was just thinking to myself in my thinking room, the bathroom. And I said, men need to be heard. And I went, that's it. And that was it. It's taken off from there.
Well, okay, what even got you into I mean, you have YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, you're off the charts in so many different
Yeah.
places. Like,
I
what
keep
even
adding
got
new ones
you
too.
I noticed that. What even got you into the idea of wanting to do, these segments or even focus on this and be a voice?
Yeah, so it actually goes back 30 years ago. All right. I've actually been doing this not on social media, but in general for 30 years, going back to 1995, when my first wife and I divorced. I've told the story many times. I walked into family court thinking truth, justice, in the American way, and found out quickly it has nothing to do with truth, nothing to do with justice, and nothing to do with the American way. So from there, I became over time active in speaking out on behalf of men. I was also a
Mhm.
domestic violence victim. And at the time, VAWA or VAWA, depending on which way you say it, I say VAWA, Violence Against Women Act was all in
Mhm.
the news, right?
Mhm.
And if you know anything about the history of that, it was designed for women,
Yes.
follow the Duluth model, all that stuff. And I was pushing back saying, that's great, let's have it. But how about a Violence Against Men Act or include us and all that? So I was lobbying there. I was lobbying in New York State. Long story short, over the years, things have morphed a little bit. I did a lot of writing. I've had articles published. I've done a TV show, a radio show in this niche back in the early 2000s. And then keep rolling forward into 2020 when a little thing might have happened you might have heard of called a
Yeah.
pandemic. And at the time, I owned gyms and they shut us down. So I was sitting around twiddling my thumbs all day long with nothing better to do. And I made the mistake of going on TikTok.
Uh-oh.
What's this new thing I keep hearing about called TikTok? Let me check it out. And here I sit. So now, it snowballed from there. And what's interesting is, you know, in the 5 years that I've been doing both TikTok and YouTube and all them, I am starting to see a change in the sense that men are starting to be heard. And I
Mhm.
like to think I'm part of that reason, but I'm certainly not the only reason. And I think we are getting to the point where more and more the issues that men face are coming forward and at
Mhm.
least being heard. I'm not sure addressed would be appropriate at this point, but that's why I do what I do. A lot of people think I hate women. No, I don't. I'm happily married,
It
by the way,
it
right?
does sound like it sometimes.
Women tend to think that way, right? Because
Mhm,
I'm challenging them.
mhm,
And when you challenge, by the way, men or women in that case, right? If you challenge them, they get their walls up, they
mhm,
hate me, right?
mhm.
And I catch so much blowback. But yet, on the other side of it, Sarah, is I have a tremendous amount of women that are reaching out to me going, we love what you're doing, right?
Great.
So you're always going to have your haters, you're going to have your fans.
Mhm.
As far as I know, I think majority of people are on the fan side, but
Yeah.
I have my critics.
Well, do you find the message that you deliver to be worthy of, having the haters club, having to deal with all of the kinda trash that comes in? Is it worthy or does it even, kinda justify even more so to say, "This is exactly why I'm doing this"?
To answer your question short and sweet, yes. So the reason I take the approach I do now is, as I said, I've been doing this for 30 years.
Mhm.
I tried to play nice, right? We meaning those of us that speak out on men's issues, right, have tried to play the nice guy role, right? We hear you, we're fully supportive, and we are, by the way, right?
Mhm.
But here's our thing, and we would get shouted down. We would get viciously attacked. I was doxxed before anybody knew what doxing was, right?
Oh, really?
Back in the late 90s and early violence
Uh-uh.
shelter. Oh, there, a little blue.
Oh, it's
Uh,
okay.
Domestic violence shelter in upstate New York, right?
Mhm.
I got doxxed back then. Nobody knew what doxing was, right? They came
Mhm.
simply because I was advocating on behalf of domestic violence victims who happened to be men.
Mhm.
And so over time, I came to the realization that playing nice wasn't getting anywhere. And it turned to me being, I like to call it blunt. I prefer really to call it honest, right? It's if you sit there and try and play nice all the time, they don't hear you. It's much like a newscast, right? The feel good stories they run at the end, nobody pays attention to them. Right?
Mhm.
It bleeds though, it leads. And
Yes.
it's it's kind of the thing I've adopted. And I'll say things like, and this is one that really sets women off. I'll go, it's all women, or it's all women,
Yes. Yes, 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 yes.
right? And they hate me for it. And when I say back to them, but you've been saying it's all men or it's all men until it's no men for 50 years now.
Mhm.
Why is it a problem that I say it? Well, it just is. You know, I don't have any malice or hate in my heart towards women. In fact, I love women. I am married. I've shared that many times. I'm happily
Mhm.
married. Been together 15 years. My best friend in the world, my ride or die, happens to be a woman, happens to be an old school feminist, like 70s era, burned her bra, walked with Steinem in Manhattan.
Wow.
Feminist, right? But she gets it. And she actually goads me to go even more than I do, right? So, I don't hate women, but I also hold them accountable, and that's what sets them off more than anything else.
I keep hearing this a lot is women aren't being held accountable. Can you kind of break that down on what they're not being accountable to? Like, I want to know from a man's perspective
Mhm.
what she needs to be accountable for.
The two, can I answer the two first?
Yeah,
She needs to be
however.
accountable to herself.
Okay.
All right. Because the, and again, I am generalizing here. Let's put that out there. It's
Hmm.
not all women. I say
Yes.
that only because I'm trying to point out the hypocrisy of it all. But a large portion of women, especially the ones on social media, don't hold themselves accountable, right? They'll say things. DoorDash girl right now is a classic example of it, right? That has spiraled, and I've done videos on it. She has broken the law. There's no question, right? But rather than take accountability for it, which if you saw our last video, she's starting to because her lawyers told her to. That's an example where women in generalizing here, women don't want to take responsibility for their words, deeds, and actions, as I like to say. You see it in divorce all the time, right?
Okay.
How many videos have you seen of women out there bashing their ex? Like, boom, boom, boom. And I say to them, well, what did you do? I was the perfect wife. That's a lack of accountability, right? I actually believe it hurts women when they do that because, and I say this to the guys when I talk to them. The best way to grow as a man is to be accountable for your deeds, words, and actions.
Hmm.
And when they're bad, fix them. When they're
Hmm.
good, acknowledge them and
Hmm.
learn how to do more of them, right? I would say the same to women. It's not
Ref-
one or the
reflective.
other. Yeah, it's look if you have a failed marriage, for example, right?
Hmm.
I postulate that it's 50-50 always. Always. Right? Might be 51-49 or something like that, but it's never 100-0. And when you talk to guys, they'll admit they screwed up. Um, Maybe not publicly, but
I was
when you
gonna
talk
say, wait a minute,
a
like
lot of them though, but a
man
lot of them
manifestation or
no, but you don't see men out making these videos, do you? I mean, there are a few, obviously, but
Well, I
um,
mean, are men more on the public? I feel like women have a better public reception, I'd say, when they're it's the, damsel in distress. Oh, he did this to
Victim
me.
mode.
He did this to Matt. Yeah,
Victim
like
mode.
women we can capitalize on that. I think that's a fair assessment. But men, if a man went out there complaining like, "Oh, this
Oh, he'd
woman
be
hurt me,"
crucified.
yeah, exactly. So
And that's
yeah.
but that speaks to the point, right? It's
Hmm.
that's where it goes back to the men need to be heard because men
Hmm.
do have things that they want to talk about with this. One a challenge I've thrown out to a lot of women is you say all these things that are bad about your husband, the father of your children, the man you claim to have loved at one point.
Hmm.
You're trashing him. Your children are going to hear this.
Yes.
You're never going to hide it from them. Don't think you aren't. All right. Um, let me talk to
Oh no, he froze. Oh,
it's
he's
I
back.
don't know what's going on. Yeah.
It's okay. It
Not
happens from time
it's
to time.
not me, it's you. No.
It might
Probably
be me.
it might be me. I don't
I'll
know.
take accountability.
I have no idea, right? No, that's my train. Oh, so I'll say to these women, let me interview your ex. I have asked thousands and thousands. Guess how many have let me talk to their ex?
5.
Zero.
Really?
No woman,
I would totally
no
give you his
woman.
number.
But are you trashing him online all the time? No.
Well,
I'm
I
not.
mean, my audience is very aware that we divorced and concept of why we divorced, but we're still I see this is where I think most people mess up because I always look at it as that's the father of my child. It's not my
Mhm,
ex-husband, that's the father of my child.
mhm.
And he views me the same way. So I could actually call him right now and say, I need something right this very second. It could be anything. The way he views it as is it probably has to do with the kid. Like we know not to take an advantage of that, right? Like
Right,
there's a
right, sure.
difference. But he
That's the way it
knows
should be.
that if Sarah's okay, then my child's okay. You know what I mean? If something's wrong with me, then my child will be in effect of that. So and
Mhm.
it goes the same like if he's sick, I'm like, "Can I bring you some Gatorade, some crackers? What do
Mhm.
you need? Can I pick up
Right.
something? Is there any what needs to happen or I'll keep our son with me until he feels better." And I think people forget that that's the parent of their child, right? They forget it
Exactly. Yep.
and they harm their emotions in it more than they do acknowledging that that's the parent of my child and I owe
Mhm.
them that much respect because if my child sees me treat them like crap, then what am I leading my child to believe as well?
Exactly right,
Yeah.
right? That's and so I applaud you. I
Oh,
I
thank
really
you.
do. Or no, seriously, because that's the
Some
way it should
people
be,
get
right?
it right.
I've been married twice before now. My first marriage was a nightmare.
Mhm.
She's still fighting the divorce 30 years later.
Really?
Oh, I don't like to get into it
Yeah, no,
in
don't.
the sense that I don't care anymore, right? I've
Mhm.
moved so far past that. Our children are in their 30s now. They
Mhm.
know the reality. Not that I told them. They figured it out on their own.
Mhm.
But that was the worst of the worst divorce wise, right? We
Oh,
were
no.
battling literally monthly to 6 weeks for 12 years in court, right? Second marriage ended. It could not have been easier, better, or we could not get along better, right? It's
Mhm.
kind of like what you were talking about.
Mhm.
I haven't talked to her much recently, but for a while there, I was talking to her more when we were divorced than when we were married, right? It's because she's a fancy
But you get what you want, right?
yes,
You
she was
don't
a
wanna be
fantastic
together.
woman, and it just wasn't working, right?
Right.
Nothing against her whatsoever.
Mhm.
The way I kind of put it is I like to go out and do things. I was very active in sports and all this stuff. She's a homebody.
Mhm.
Her preference is to sit home and read a book or watch TV all the time.
Mhm.
Nothing wrong with that, right?
No.
I'm not that way.
Right.
All right. So we were polar opposites that way. And it didn't start out that way, but it kind of grew that way.
Mhm.
I would never say anything negative about her. I never have. She all but adopted my children from my first marriage.
Aw.
They've referred to her as their mother sometimes. Um, they still have their mother. Don't take it
Yeah.
that way, but
y-
they view her as equal to their mother, I guess is the better way to
Yeah.
put it, right? They love her to death. They're still in contact constantly, which is exactly what I would want.
Hmm.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, your situation and that situation are the exceptions, not the rule these days, right?
Right. I
It's
agree with that.
this. And
Yes.
a lot of it is the lawyers ginning it up.
I believe that. I had a great lawyer and I give her credit. She was rowdy and ready to rumble. But there were some things I was like, no, that's his. Let him have it. And she's like,
Mhm.
but you can. And I was like, no, it's just that's his. Let him
Yep.
have it.
Yep.
It came down to boiling down to a matter of a schedule and sorting through that. And that was the only issue we had. But that's only because our schedules were crazy between his work and my work and life and whatever, whatever. So outs like, but the lawyers do. I mean, they make more money the longer your case
That's all they
goes.
care about too, right?
Yeah. And so let me ask you this.
Sure.
Do you think if the lawyers had because I was told to ask for flat fees. I was told to go that route in order to kind of reduce that kind of thing.
Mhm.
Do you think if there was maybe a cap or some type of further incentive, like a bonus if you get it done faster, right,
Mm.
instead of longer, that maybe the lawyers wouldn't be incentivized to cause more rifts than to actually find resolution?
What a terrific question, Sarah. No one's ever asked me that. Um,
I feel so smart.
um, the answer is yes. I think that's the way to go. Again, I'm kind of doing this off the top of my head because
Mhm.
I'm like, you've blown me away a little bit. I don't know of a lawyer that would agree to that, by the way. And I actually worked for a law firm for a couple of years as an IT person. Um, they are all about the billable hours.
Mhm,
I do think along those lines, if we had a way to take the rancor and the incentivization out, right?
mhm,
So the reason you'll see a lot of lawyers gin things up, as I like to put it, is because they're going to make bank on it, right?
mhm.
Um, Using my first divorce as an example, I spent over six figures, and I ended up representing myself about 60% of the time, give or
Oh,
take.
no.
I had a terrific divorce attorney. She was amazing. And she would say to me, Dan, you can handle this. You don't need me for this. Right. She wasn't trying to make a killing off of me. But
Mhm.
there were times she'd go, you ain't doing this one, dude. Right. I
Right.
gotta be here. Right. And I totally respected her because she was brutally honest with me. Right.
Mhm.
Um, I second divorce, as I said, it couldn't have been more amicable. We spent less than $1,000. Right.
Nice.
We made the agreement up ourselves. We sat down
Mhm.
on a Saturday morning in about 3 hours, hammered the whole damn thing out, took it to a lawyer and said, make this legal, right? Which I had pretty
Mhm.
much done anyway because I know
Right.
that stuff. And you had to pay the filing fees and a couple hours of his time, and that was it. It was done, right?
Nice.
So to answer your question, yes, that is the way to go. We need to get lawyers out of it, but we can't.
Right.
Obviously, you can't. But um, if they're not working, I'll put it, they're not making money. And
Mhm.
they bill in 6-minute increments. They love when you send them that email crying and whining about what he did or blah blah
Mhm.
blah, because they have to read it, and the longer it is, the more they can bill you for it.
Yeah.
People don't understand that, and I hate divorce attorneys generally speaking, but I have some very good friends that happen to be ones, right? So it's what we need to do is revamp the whole system
Mhm.
and take the rancor out of it and ultimately look at the family, because the end result is when you have the fighting banging heads for, in my case, the first time 12 years, right?
Mhm.
It sucks the finances right out of the family. It
Mhm.
drains them, right? The stress, the mental load, the emotional toll, not just on the mom and dad, but the children.
Mhm.
And people say, "Oh, we keep them out of it." Bullshit, you do. They know. My children knew
Yeah,
everything,
they
and
know
they
everything.
know everything.
They
Okay.
figure it out fast
They sure
too.
do. So
Oh,
we need to look at the entire system. And it's something that I've talked often about with politicians is you meaning them have set
mm,
up this situation where you've turned it basically into criminal court, right? There's
yes.
going to be a winner, there's going to be a loser. To what degree that might be, it's never 100-0, but
Mhm.
it might be 60-40, some cases 70-30, whatever. But everybody wants to be that 70 instead of the 30, and they'll spend tens of thousands of dollars to do it. And I'll tell you something a divorce attorney told me privately. You want to
Oh,
know?
yes.
They love women. You know why?
Oh, I'm sure, because 'cause we're emotional
You're emotional.
creatures.
Bingo.
Yeah.
They know if they get you in the office, right? The guy's gonna go, "Well, how much is it gonna cost me? And
Mhm.
am I gonna win?" And they're gonna go, "No, you're not." Well, then why should I spend the money? But they get the woman going, they'll spend, and then they throw at them, "We'll have him pay for it." And next thing you know,
Yeah.
the entire retirement for the both sides is gone. And the
You
lawyer's
know,
driving a
though,
brand new boat.
this is why I was grateful because my ex-husband was still a gentleman and already said like, "Listen, we're going to do what we need to do. Don't worry about the finance portion. We're going to get." And I will say that helped make me feel more comfortable. Like it
Mhm.
didn't turn into I mean, it did get a little heated, but I didn't feel like he was trying to be combative early on because he already said, "We can do this, we can get it done,
Mhm.
and I don't want you to worry about the hard stuff." Like
Mhm.
financially and what's going to happen, and I'll always take care of you and the kids. So just we're going to get through it. And it going in with that ease of mind, anything the lawyer started blabbering, it was kinda like, I already feel safe where I'm at,
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
so
And that
I don't know.
let me ask you this.
Mhm.
Putting a rough number on it, would you say that the 2 of you probably agreed beforehand on a certain percentage of things?
Yeah,
What do you think
like,
roughly that would have been?
w I mean, we already agreed we're not taking the kids away from each other. We already
Mhm,
agreed that, like, he already said, "Don't worry about child support. I will pay for everything. I don't care
mhm,
what little number they give me. I'm going to take care of it all." Like, so we, I wasn't, he was a good man, right? Like, just like your second divorce, like,
yeah,
it
it just
just
didn't work
didn't
out, right?
work.
Yeah,
He's still a good man. So I'll never chastise him on that. He takes care of his children, and that's never been and to me, that's the most important factor. As long as you're taking care of your babies, I don't care. Um, but we agreed on, like, the house, the cars, like, that was all of the material stuff, neither of us really cared,
yep,
you
and
know?
that's the norm, by the way.
Yeah, and then when it just got down to to our son, it was just the schedule, and it was just hardlining that. That's all it was. It wasn't, like, you can't see him. It was just a matter of really working through the days because it put a lot more pressure on me because I
Mhm,
would be subjected to his work schedule and all this stuff, and I was like, "How am I supposed to work a second
right,
job or do
right,
this or do that if
right,
I'm teeter-tottering all this stuff?" So, but we got through it. Once he understood the concept, it was like, okay, how can we make this work for us both? So we were able to do it and figure it out. And I mean, we got through. We got through it.
Well, I
Really
mean,
was.
the point I was trying to make is your situation is the norm, right? The
Hmm.
majority of divorcing couples, yeah, it's tough to put a solid number on it, but in my opinion, probably agree on 90% of the stuff. That
Hmm.
10% though, they'll go to war over. And
Everything,
when I work with
everything,
guys,
though.
like I had a guy a couple of years back. He was paying his child support. She wanted more. And, you know, without getting too far into the weeds on it, he was kind of in the right in the sense he wasn't making a huge amount of money more or anything like that. They were adjusting automatically under the state rules and all that, right?
Hmm.
Well, she kept pushing him, and he said, "I'm going to fight her tooth and nail."
No,
And he spent about $50,000 fighting her.
is it worth it?
Wait, let me
Oh,
finish. He
sorry.
won. He saved himself $8,000. So I said to the guy all along, I'm like, "Are you thinking this through, dude? You're talking $8,000.
Mhm.
right? Because the kid was fairly far along. It was like 14, 15, right? So we're
Mhm.
talking roughly 3 to 4 years at a couple of $100 more a month over time. What are you doing, dude?
But
Right?
isn't child support, like, mainly a calculation, though? I mean,
It
because
is. It's
I know in order to change it, it has to be a material change, like a
a
really severe
significant change usually.
right,
Yeah.
like, he got promoted to CEO of a company, and he was, maybe just a VP prior to that or
Yeah.
something, which that would be a big income change, I would imagine. Um, or he received an inheritance or some kind of whatever stock options that soared. I don't know. But it would have to, or even just moving, downgrading, upgrading. You could go either direction. It still has to be a material change. But um, I would imagine it wouldn't be that hard to uh, kind of battle that if it's. I mean, don't all the states have
Oh,
calculators?
Sarah, Sarah, Sarah. There is the law and there's
Hmm.
how the law is applied. Okay.
Okay, all right.
Um,
So what would
having
make it outside of the basic calculator and the basic information, what would make it more extensive than
I'll
just
get
running the numbers?
I'll give you a classic example. I know of a professional athlete.
Mhm,
They just set his child support based on his salary.
mhm,
Mind you, he's making millions, was making millions of dollars a year.
mhm.
Now he's not. He got cut. He's now making zero. They will not adjust the child support. He's still expected to pay based on the $10 million a year he was making. There was no adjustment. They never go down, right? It's called imputed income. Same thing with, I'll give you another beautiful example. You probably heard in the news, or maybe you didn't. Amazon's about to lay off like 30% of their workforce.
Mhm,
If a divorced guy in that situation, obviously he's losing his income, right? Through no fault of his own.
mhm. Yep.
Um, they'll go into court and say, "Hey, I got laid off." And the judge will go, "So,
Can't you
hey,
put in a temporary hold though?
you
Like,
could try, but
yeah, because I
I
thought
will
you
tell
could put
you,
in like, "Hey, bad things happen. I do intend to pay, but just know here's what's going on." See, I don't know. I feel like most
no,
people
that's not
should
how
be
it
able to talk this out.
you're talking logically. Stop doing that. There's your problem, right? It makes total sense that they would do that, correct?
Mhm,
And you can file, depending on what state is, they're called different things, but a motion, I'll call it, right?
mhm,
Um, but the judge is under no obligation to reduce anything, right? They'll call it imputed income. I can cite hundreds of cases I know of there, where a man lost his job through, a layoff, the company folded, whatever. Sometimes there's been tough times getting new jobs. They end up getting a job at a lower salary. Judges never reduce the child support. They always look to increase it. They never look to reduce it. And
hmm.
like you mentioned earlier, well, what if he gets an inheritance or what? So what? Why should that be factored into child support? Right? The child
I
support should be
yeah.
based on the needs of the children and nothing more.
Well, it goes I've done a lot of studying on the best interest of the child, and the concept is if dad is living, or mom, whichever, one person is living in $1 million home mansion, and then the other parent is living in a one bedroom like crap hole in the middle of nowhere with leaky ceilings and one
Mhm.
like no bedrooms at all or something. The child has a significant difference between homes, and that can lead to the worst interest of the child, because then this could say, well, yay, I get to go to this
About to
parent's
make my
house.
argument
And
for me. You don't know
okay, well,
yet. Go ahead.
but ideally, it's like, if one parent has to work three jobs just to maintain, and then the needs of the child are kind of being going crappier, right? In
Mhm.
essence of what they can deal with, or so on and so forth. Whereas if the other parent is incredibly successful in some weird way, maybe they're or received an inheritance, whatever. I don't think you should always be able to tap into everything, but it's the courts recognize the concept of there should be some form or balance between homes where the child can at least have the same like similar standings between the two, or at least something
That's in
along those
theory the
lines.
way it's supposed to be.
Right.
That's not in practice how it is.
Okay.
Who's the
Elaborate.
ones living in the single room apartment with the floods and all that? Is it mom or dad?
I think it depends, because I know
It's
a lot of
dad.
single moms like have pretty crappy
Majority of
scenarios
the time,
too.
it's dad, right?
Okay.
Mom gets the house 85% of the time,
Mm-hmm.
right? So she's maintaining the marital home, as they call it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she has the kids. Dad goes and finds a studio apartment somewhere, and it's usually a shithole. And that whole argument you just made, which I agree with you, that's the way it should be, doesn't apply then, and nobody cares.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wants to hear the dad side of it, right? Everybody wants to say we have to make sure that, when the children are with mom, everything is the same as it always was, and blah 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 blah, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't. That's not reasonable. You're taking the income that you had to function one household and now creating two households out of it.
Yes.
The math don't math, right? And the argument being that, well, we have to make sure the standard of living is the same in both. It ain't. You're not in practice.
Well, I mean, if he's, let me, I'm trying to visualize the concept of a father living in a like regular one bedroom studio, probably crappy, whatever. More than likely, his child support's not going to be like $3,000 a month, right? If
Yes,
he's
again, it's on the formula. His income has nothing to do with what he's living in.
right, but if his, for instance, if he's making $50,000 a year and the child support comes in at like maybe $300 a month, like that's not steep compared to what it would cost for an apartment. I mean, the apartment costs would already, or studio house, whatever, would already be at the same level it would have been no matter what. Realistically speaking, he would have still been spending that money on the child either way. Right? If he was
Not to the
still
extent you're saying.
living with the wife, the child would still be receiving the same amount of support from the father in either direction. You've just separated incomes.
No, we're talking back to the best interest of the child standard that you brought up, right? Which is everything's supposed to be equal.
Right.
I'm going to use myself as a perfect example.
Well,
of
I
your
wouldn't
argument.
say equal. Let me preface that by saying I don't think it has to be equal, but there has to be some kind of balance, at least access to, something close, right?
So if that's the case,
Mm-hmm.
why is it the majority of time the dads are the ones forced out of the home into those studio apartments or one bedroom apartments? That is the reality. So if what you're saying is, I'm not disagreeing with your concept at all, but it's not the way it is in practice, right? The men are, let's say you're making $50,000 a year and you have two children, just to pick a number, right? The quote unquote average, although that's now no longer the case. In New York State, now it may have changed, but back, because I haven't been in New York in a while, but it was 25% of your income pre-tax. So $50,000.
Really?
Really? 17% for one child, 25 for two, 29 for three, and 35, I think, for four. I'm not sure on that number, but so 25% of your pre-tax income. So 25% of 50,000 ballpark, 12.5, right? Goes to mom, tax-free. Tax-free, she gets handed that. Then all the other expenses get added on. That's just child support. Well, Johnny needed to go to, I don't know, summer camp. Johnny needed this. Jane needed this. Those are added on. He's also got to cover medical insurance. Then when he's all said and done, and none of it's tax deductible to him, none of it is, because she'll probably get the children to be able to take the tax credits on them. So he's ended up now, right off the bat, he's gone from 50 to 37.5. Plus, he's got to pay taxes on it. Well, New York State, I don't know if you ever lived in New York State, but they love to tax. So now his post-tax is probably closer to 25, give or take, right? Because New York State tax, that level.
Goodness.
Yeah, when you,
weird.
I know this stuff. when you start doing the math, you tell me how that's equal, right? And let me ask you this,
No, I wouldn't agree with it at all. I wouldn't say it's
but
equal
that's
a
the re-
single bit. I
but
know,
that's the
and I
reality,
also,
Sarah.
well,
That
I
is
mean,
the reality.
and I obviously know, I know Maryland law, like in what we do here, and ours is based on a calculator. You're putting both incomes together, and then it's got this percentage thing, and then it says like with both of you combined, and then you half it into two. Who has to
Yeah,
pay
there's a
what to
whole
equal the
calculation.
other half?
Right.
Right.
But the
Hmm.
same things apply. It's all every state's different, right? There's 50 different states and into
Hmm.
Puerto
Yeah,
Rico and all them. They all
absolutely.
write their own laws. But in the end, when you look at it, it never comes out equal. It never comes out equal.
Really.
Very, very rarely have and I've worked with people, men, I coach men through divorce. I'm not a lawyer. I don't pretend to be. Um,
Hmm.
I know the law because I learned it, but that was for myself. I be the first to tell you I am not a lawyer. I don't practice law. I don't give legal tips or any of that. But I know the child support law cold in New York, and I know it in North
Hmm.
Carolina. And the reality is that when you look at the way the standard is, which is percentage of income, it shouldn't be based on that. It should be on the needs of the children, right? I argue that if you have a child that's a ward of the state,
Hmm.
they might get anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000, depending on which state you're in, a month. Yet they'll tell fathers, "Oh, you're going to pay 8, 9, 10,000." Why? If the needs of the child are according to the state's own law, right?
Hmm.
The state's reimbursing, let's say 1,200, just to pick a number. Why should he pay more? Doesn't he have the obligation to support the children's for their wellness?
Hmm.
Now what you're talking about is lifestyle. Well, we have to fund their lifestyle. Well, if mom wants a 3-bedroom apartment in, XYZ neighborhood that's high end and all that, and they calculate based on that, that's her house. That's not the children, right? They
Hmm.
look at it as, well, the rent on this apartment is, I don't know, $1,800,
Hmm.
which would be low end in
That
most
is low.
states, right?
I was gonna say I didn't want to say anything, but I'm like, damn, that's cheap.
It's low. Let me make it 2,000 because I need easy math, right? Let's say it's 2,000 for a 3-bedroom apartment.
Hmm.
Just I know the numbers are wrong.
Yeah, it's good.
You get where
We're
I'm
rolling.
going, right?
We're
But
pretending
but
we're in
how much
2000.
of that 2,000 would she have to pay to 100? Would you agree with that? Like just roughly numbers,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They don't calculate it on the difference being the 500. They calculate it on its $2,000.
Well, let me ask you this, because and again, I say I'm very blessed with my ex-husband, and
Mhm.
he never wants me to be in uh, suffering or in crappy situations, and he wants to always make sure that the children are taken care of.
Mhm.
Uh, I mean, child support put aside, wouldn't I don't know. I look at it as that's the mother of your children. Wouldn't you want her to have a good place or stability or whatever? Assuming she's not remarried. If she's remarried, that all goes out the window.
Not
But as
legally, it doesn't.
right.
Not
but
legally, it doesn't.
but I mean, in terms of she's like I don't know. If I were a man, if she could only afford some one room crap hole in a crappy neighborhood that's not safe for my children, I'd work 10 jobs just to put, and that's just me, right? It's anecdotal, but if I were a man, I would work 10 jobs just to ensure that the mother of my children and my children are in a safe, warm, nice, quaint neighborhood. It doesn't have to be the best of the best, but it has to be better than some crappy one room apartment out in somewhere dangerous.
So then why don't women do that? Why don't they practice what you're preaching? Because they don't.
How do you mean?
Show me the women that are doing that. Exactly what you said. Working 10 jobs to support the husband. If the husband's stuck in a studio apartment and she's in a 3-bedroom house,
Mm-hmm.
isn't then you're based on your argument,
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't the mom be stepping up and helping him out because he's got the children too?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't work that way though. Your argument is one of guilt. You're trying to guilt the men. Well, it's you
I
need to
see.
take
I see
care.
what you mean.
You need to
I
take care of the mother of your children. Why? Is she not strong and independent? Can she not take care of herself? She don't need no man. That all goes right out the window when it comes down to child support. Funny how that is. It's called hypocrisy, Sarah. I'm not picking on you. Please don't take it
No,
that
no,
way.
no, I don't take. I don't.
But
I'm
this
not
is the
taking this on
this
me.
is
I
well,
know my situation, and I know I'm good.
yeah, but you get what I'm saying, right?
I see what you're saying.
But nobody wants to talk about that. And
Well,
that's why I
but
get hated, because I throw this stuff out there and they hate me for it.
mhm.
What do you mean you don't care about the mother of your children? I never said that. But
Do you think men should?
no. Why?
Well, okay. In because you're utilizing kind of the feministic argument against women, right? I would imagine we'd add in the patriarchal argument for
The
men.
fake patriarchal.
Oh, you don't like the patriarchy?
There
Or
is no patriarchy. I've done a whole video on it.
oh my god, I missed this.
What fake
Well,
patriarchy?
so well then let me ask, in terms of men and women, would you be agreeable that men are stronger than women in all aspects?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
Where do you think men
Physically, yes.
Mhm.
Physically, I'll grant you that. Your argument is women aren't as capable as men in everything other than physical differences, obviously. Although
Mhm.
now the arguments come in that that's not the case, right? The men and women's sports, which to me is,
Mhm.
I'm a strength and conditioning coach. Trust me, men are stronger than women physically.
Yes,
Okay.
you are. You
Okay.
are.
Let's just accept that. But setting that aside, I truly believe women are every bit as capable as men in every aspect, with obvious biological exceptions.
Mhm.
So to say that it's men's obligation to take care of women is insulting to women to me.
Mm.
That's patriarchal.
Well, I think it's more humbling for a woman to admit to vulnerability and uh, it- I don't like. I feel like it's okay for a woman to say I'm not strong and independent.
But
Like,
they, but, but I, by the way, I agree with you. But guess what? Why isn't it okay for a man to say that?
to say he's strong and
That
independent,
he's not.
to say he's not. Well, I think that's emasculating
Is it?
to say that, to say I'm not
Why?
strong and independent as a man.
Why?
Well, I mean, we look to you. You are the protectors. You are the ones who are
We were the
strong and
protectors. No, this is not 1950 anymore. We're not living in 1955, Sarah. We're living in 2025. Please don't take this as personal,
no,
right?
I'm not.
I'm
I'm not.
I'm
I'm not.
playing
I'm
devil's
rolling with
advocate with you,
it.
right?
I'm rolling with it.
Oh, it's not 1955 anymore. We have no
Mhm.
obligation to protect you. We have no obligation to provide for you, nor should we now. That's my argument. Because women have said for 50 fucking years now, pardon my French, right? We
Mhm.
don't need no man.
Mhm.
Fine. You know what? I agree with you. Now you hate me for it. Not you, but they
Yeah.
hate me for that. I firmly believe women are every bit as capable as men. And I don't say that lightly. I mean that, right?
Okay.
I have 3 daughters and I have 2 sons biologically and a stepson that I consider to be mine, right?
Mhm.
My girls can do everything my boys can and vice versa. That's the way it should be.
Well, okay. Putting it in a this is your daughter perspective. Like,
Mhm.
let me run a hypothetical, right?
Sure.
Because
Go
I
ahead.
look at my daughter. I mean, she's a teenager now, and I'm thinking she's got a boyfriend, and he's very good to her, and he's like takes care of her, right? And I look at it as it, later on down the road, if she were to get married, and then let's say he divorced her, like I would hope he's the man that would want to take care of her or ensure it's particularly if she's the mother of his
No,
children. If she's the
I'm
mother
reading
of
the
his
comments.
children.
I'm reading
Oh,
some of the comments.
I like didn't even bring mine up. I don't even want to be
I'm just
distracted.
kind of chuckling at some of them. Sorry, I didn't mean
Um,
to interrupt you.
oh, that's okay. But I would view it as if she has his children and they divorce, like I would hope he's the man that wants her to at least still be okay, because again, it affects the children. And I'm not even talking about 100% financially. I'm
Mhm.
talking like ensuring she's safe and secure, and like if she's sick, injured, whatever, like he's there because it's in the best interest of the child. But I even look at that in the bigger picture too, of are we living in a safe neighborhood? Are we doing this? No, I'm not saying he has to buy her a mansion, right? I'm not saying has to necessarily buy her anything, but I to me, I just look at it as I want a man who's going to take care of my daughter. Like she's going to be given away. Like her father is her protector and provider. And as a man, you are taking over that role and you are making that promise when you get married. Now, things happen. People get divorced all the time. I think it's crappy. It's not fun, and it's not a good for anyone. But I still view it as like you took that little girl from her father. Like you need to own that. You know what I mean? I don't know. Am
I
I
know.
far
No,
off?
I
Am I
know
so
what you
far
mean.
off?
No, I know what you're saying. I actually agree with it, but you knew there was going to be a
Mhm.
but, right?
Yes.
That's not the world we live in anymore, right?
Yeah.
If you, to your premise, you're
Mhm.
talking a very 1950s, because I love to use that one, right?
Mhm.
Mindset, right? You have the double standard that women have, right?
Okay.
We want our equality. We want to be able to do whatever we want. We want our careers and all that, but we still want the men to be the providers, protectors, and do spend all their money on us, pay for all the dates, all that stuff. It's a huge double standard. You can't have it both ways, right?
Mhm.
If you're going to make the argument that because you got married, it's now his job for life to take care of you, even post divorce, right?
Mhm.
I say bullshit to that. And you know why I say bullshit? Because that's what women wanted,
To be
right?
able to have our cake and eat it too.
That's exactly what you want. Not you personally, right? Although, to be fair, you're kind of going in that direction, right? Is
Mhm.
once divorce happens, yes, you need to take care of the kids. 1,000,000% agree with you.
Mhm.
I have no obligation to any ex wife or any ex girlfriend. She broke it off. I broke it off. It's irrelevant. We're not a couple anymore, right?
Right.
Go back to dad, honey. That's, I mean, very,
Yeah.
blunt here, but you get what I'm
Yeah.
doing, right? I'm trying to make the point by being
Yeah.
exaggerated with it. But this is what men are up against, right?
Mhm.
Because your mindset, and again, I'm not saying this personally to you because
Yeah.
you're speaking basically for most women,
Mhm.
right? The mindset to what men are hearing from that is exactly the phrase you used. We want our cake and eat it too,
Mhm.
right? We see men as disposable. We see men as the wallet. All we care about is that you're going to give, and we're not going to give you a fucking thing in return, right? That's what men are hearing. And I know that's probably your brain's probably going right now, right?
It's not the first time I've heard this.
Okay. But that's what men are seeing and feeling. And that's why they're walking away, right? It is completely absurd to expect men to be providers, protectors, and all that
Mhm.
stuff, while at the same time telling them, we don't. Well, do you need a man or you don't? Stop playing
Mhm.
this game. There's not, that isn't a spectrum because not the way the women are presenting it, right? I think it's a spectrum, obviously, but
Mhm.
that's not what they're saying. We don't need no man. Leave us alone. Okay, we heard you. We respect you. We're going to give you exactly what you want. Where did all the good men go? It's ridiculous, right? What you're speaking about is exactly why we've had the breakdown in relationships, right? I don't know if you wanted to go there with
No,
this, but
no, let's do it.
it's kind of leading
I'm
into it, right?
loving this. I'm
Yeah.
loving this.
This is why men are done. And you have no idea what's coming. You are only seeing the beginning of it. Because I talk to hundreds of men a week, hundreds of them. And I'll throw something out to you that I've talked about before, but maybe your audience hasn't heard about it. So, again, I mentioned earlier there was this little thing about 5 years ago called the pandemic, right?
Mhm.
That was the game changer
Really?
because men figured out they don't need women anymore. We were all trapped in our homes, right?
Mhm.
We were ordering DoorDash or whatever when we could. Men were playing video games. Younger ones, I don't play video games, but younger ones were playing video games. You know, I was watching sports, doing whatever. And men started going, I have more money in the bank. I have less stress in my life. I'm not trying to meet some ridiculous demand and expectations from this chick. Life is pretty goddamn good.
That's not that hard.
And then that's the game changer. So you've heard of MGTOW before, right?
Yes.
That's been
yes.
around for 20 years.
We have a few of them in our community.
Yeah.
They're really fun. They're really
that
nice
has
guys.
now it took off like a
Skyrocketed.
rocket, and it's
Mhm.
and it's only just beginning.
You think
And I
so?
don't say that as a good thing. Yeah, I do. I think you haven't seen anything yet. You know, you look at different studies, and most studies are complete bullshit, by the way.
Mhm.
But you know, the one that you commonly hear is that by 2030, about 45% of women of childbearing age will be single and alone.
Really?
Yeah. And that study, I'm one of those freaks that reads the actual studies, not what the newspapers tell you. Having looked through that study, there's some flaws in it, but their data collection and all that is, for those type of studies, is not bad. I'm not going to give it an A, but I'll give it a good B, right?
Okay.
But that's where I'm saying there's something there, because I'm also seeing the same thing by the tens of thousands a week. Now, obviously, some are repeats, right? But ballpark, I don't know, somewhere around 800,000 followers, and they're universally, with very few exceptions, the single men are going, I'm done. Of all age groups, by the way, from 70s down to 20s. And in fact, the 20s are by far the most walking away. It is scary from a societal perspective. They are so freaking done. It isn't funny.
Can I ask you? It's sorry, I jumped in on that
Please,
thought, but it
please.
just kind of came into my brain. Do you think because casual sex is so easy to
Easy. Yeah.
maintain, or yeah, I mean, pardon me on this one, but I call it like it's like Uber dicks is Tinder. Sorry.
I almost spit it out. I am so stealing that. You have to give me permission to use that.
Take it.
I love it. I love it.
But I mean, you could get on Tinder.
I've never been on it, so I don't know.
I tried Tinder for a hot minute, and I was like, oh, like I'm back in single world. Maybe I'll try dating. What's Tinder and all this Bumble stuff or whatever. And lo and behold, it's Uber dicks. That's all. They just say you want to do this, you want to do that, and I'm like, no, I don't. Like, what happened to just getting a coffee? But this is the one thing I've heard among other women is, well, yeah, I just got on Tinder. I just started talking to this guy today. He came over, we boned, and he left. And I'm thinking to myself, like, where's the dating part? This isn't dating.
Yeah, I'm with you on this. I hear you.
Yeah. So do you think if the casual sex went away, because that to me, like a man, you said earlier, he could be at home, play his video games, save his money, get on Tinder, go over, get a little late night booty call, come back home, go to work the next day, and
He's
life
happy.
is fine, right? So
Life is ecstatic for him.
would you say if casual sex disappeared, maybe all of this would kind of recorrect itself?
I've been asked that before in various forums.
Mhm.
The answer I'll give is yes, qualified. Okay.
Okay.
And the reason I qualified is I think the cat's out of the bag. And one good thing about feminism, and I am no fan of feminism, okay, that I think it gave, that needed to be, was to give women sexual freedom, right? When it started out, now what it's morphed into is not good, right? But I think, I don't know how old you are, but I'm 62. You know, I went through the 70s feminism and the 80s and all that, so I've lived it my entire life. And I think back in the 70s and 80s, they had legitimate arguments along the sexual freedom side. Okay. what it has morphed to now, um, it's like shooting fish in a barrel for a guy now. It really is. It's just a numbers game, right?
Yeah.
It's I don't say that in any way positive, and I don't want people taking it that way.
Mhm.
But I have guys will say to me, you know, I can't get laid, and I'm like, you're not trying, dude, because it ain't that hard, right?
Like, how like, it
I
can't be
mean,
that
I mean,
hard.
Sarah, I am married. I would never cheat on my wife. I have no
Mhm.
interest in anyone else. I get hit on a couple times a month.
Really?
I took my
I don't
wedding
mean
ring.
that as an insult,
Yeah.
but
No, no,
like,
I
to
yeah,
me, it's strange.
it is. And oh, by the way, it's younger ones. And I took my
I'm
wedding
just
ring off. In fact, it's over in the drawer over here, right? I wear one of those little rubber ones, or
oh,
used
yeah,
to.
yeah, those are nice. I like
That's
those.
well, it's because I work out all the time, right? So
Uh-huh.
a gold one wouldn't last. I have one. I don't know, it's some one of the drawers somewhere. Um, when I'm at the gym now, I'm 62 years old. I sure as hell don't look like I don't know who's the hot guy now. I don't even know anymore. Henry, Superman guy, right? Whoever hot,
Cavill.
yeah, whatever hot guy you want to pick. All right, I
Uh-huh.
certainly don't look like that. I ain't no Brad Pitt, as I say, but I guess he's now not good
Oh,
looking.
my mom says it's the bald head. She says that in the chat. It must
Okay,
be what's
well,
attracting that.
is that Mama Tomato? Thanks,
Yes.
Mom. Thank you.
Mhm.
Although I get told all the time that I'm inferior because I'm bald, but that's another. I digress. But, but like if I have my wedding ring on, I
Mhm.
get hit on all the time. I mean it. I've actually joked about this, and I had a guy actually do it. Because you can go to Walmart and get a pack of 5 of those rubber ones for like
Mhm. A
$4, right?
dollar.
And a guy went and did it, and he goes, "You know what? It worked." I went, "What?" Um,
Well, I could say that it's the idea that there's no commitment and it's casual
and
is
that's it,
what
right?
and it's a challenge because I've
Yeah.
been with my ex-husband before in a bar and he would leave me to go use the restroom or go mingle with his friends or
Mhm.
something and they're like flies, man, they just come flying in like hitting on you and I'm like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah,
Like he was right here.
it goes both ways, right?
Mhm.
I think
Yep.
where a lot of women don't understand is that they're used to men coming up to them,
Mhm.
right? I don't think a lot of them understand that women are coming up to men in the same way, right?
Mhm.
And when I get approached, I had one, God, it's probably a year ago now. Like I said, I'm 60 years old. I am what I am. I'm happy with what I am. This chick, I'll call her, all right,
Oh boy.
probably 35-ish, give or
Mhm.
take, 2 kids in tow, following me around like a freaking puppy dog, and came up to me. You're really handsome, blah blah blah. She started with I was picking something off a shelf and can you help me get the higher one? I
Mhm.
didn't think anything of it. Here you go. Oh, you're really handsome. Thank you so much. Blah, blah. I'm like, oh no, honey, we're not doing this, right? And I just like, you gotta be shitting me, right? This girl's my daughter's age. Okay. I
Oh.
have a 35-year-old daughter. Okay. I'm like, oh hell no, right? And I don't want to be mean to her. And I'm
Mhm.
just like, look, I'm married. I'm just letting you know. And I turned and walked away. And it kind of,
Mhm.
if I can get that,
Mhm.
right? A good looking younger man, not even, the phrase Chad Tyrone or Rico is the one I use,
Right?
right? Not even them. We'll set them aside. Just an average, good looking, he's not a troll looking guy, somewhat in shape, has no problem getting laid these days.
No,
And,
yeah, not at all.
um, you know, I'll share a story with you, but you gotta promise not to tell anyone. So,
Shh. Everyone
when
keep this between
yeah.
us.
So and my wife knows this, so I'm not hiding anything. When I, got divorced from my second wife, I went on
Mhm.
Match.com. This
Mhm.
was in 2010, 2011 day. I mean, it was, like I said, shooting fish in a barrel, and I
Yeah,
never approached anyone. I'm not one I don't put phony pictures up. I don't use filters on my videos or
right.
anything. What you see is me, right?
Mhm.
Um, in a space of 3 months, I had 13 dates. And I wasn't even trying.
That's
It's
not bad.
and that was 15 years ago.
Well,
Now
but
it's
there's a
insane.
large difference between Match.com because I remember Match.com back in Plenty of Fish
That
and all those,
Yeah,
like
that was about relationships.
exactly, but
But
so the people who were there actually wanted to be there,
I agree
you
with you there.
know?
Yeah, yeah.
Tinder, you swipe, like, whether
I
yes
have to
or
be honest with you,
no.
I've never been on Tinder.
It's like
I
I
need
can
my
tell
wife's
you
permission, but I wanna
I
go
can
on and
tell
play with it.
you, like
It's just hooking
a
up, right?
squirrel on crack, ADHD at its finest. Swipe or swipe, swipe or swipe, and your stuff's binging all the time. Ooh,
If
it's for
somebody told
short
me once
term TikTok brain, like that
Yeah.
TikTok brain. That's what it's for.
Yeah, somebody told me once it's the Craigslist of phone apps or something like I'm paraphrasing it, right? And I had to have them explain to me what that meant, and then they did. 20 minutes
In
of my
search
life
of,
20
you
minutes
can't
of my
get
life
back.
I'll never get back, right?
Can't
But
get it back.
I actually one of the things I want to do is experiment with that because I'm
Uh-huh,
completely at a loss with Tinder. I've never been on it.
uh-huh.
There's another one out there somebody mentioned to me.
Bumble,
Bumble. That's it. It is
and
Bumble.
then there's one more that
The
Hinge.
Bumble Hinge I
Yeah.
don't know anything about, but Bumble's
Hinge, Bumble, and now Bumble is where she has the upper hand of whether a guy can message her or
Oh,
not.
that's the one that's going out of business because the guys are banning it. Yeah.
No, maybe, I can
Oh yeah.
imagine,
Yeah.
but it's where she has to kind of, like, approve, and
They have to make the first move.
I'm not even upset with that because, ugh, like, I remember Plenty of Fish, and I used to get just message after and it was just, like, any and everything, and some stuff was just, ooh, like,
Yeah.
gross,
I
like,
mean,
what they were
yeah.
saying,
Yeah.
and so I kind of d the was it I think it was Bumble, where you just kind of have a little more control over who's blowing up your DMs and stuff and
I love these
yada, yada,
comments.
yada.
I'm loving some of these comments. Um, it's getting back to what we're kind
Mhm,
of brought this in, the relaxation, if you will, right? Of
mhm,
um, let's call it sex.
mhm,
Um, Hookup culture, I guess is another way to put it. I think has just, along with many other things,
mhm,
destroyed relationships between men and women. Um, and that's not a good thing, and
mhm,
it's going to ultimately destroy our society, right? We are seeing it already. It's already happening. We are so far down the path, and people don't realize it. The birth rate has plummeted um, across Western civilization and even Asia. I mean, Korea and Japan, it's really, really bad. We're a generation away from society falling apart because there's not
mhm,
anybody to replace my generation. They all hate the boomers, right? Because I'm a boomer, right? They all hate us, but once we go, there's not that many behind us to replace us, right?
mhm,
And the main cause, and I talk with politicians about this. The main cause of it is that one, hookup culture, I think, is a big part of it. Divorce, family court is the other one, right?
mhm,
And if we don't fix both of them as a society, we're going to cease to exist. And when you try and talk to people about that, they don't want to have that conversation
mhm.
because it's, "Ew, I can't talk about that," right? Especially in the US, we don't talk about sex.
Well,
Well,
what would your solution be then, right? If you could, wave a magic bing, uh, what would it look like instead
that's a
to
great
fix it?
question, Sarah, and I don't have an answer right now. It's one I've asked of many people, right? I don't know that there is one right now.
Well,
I think
would you are you religious at all?
no.
Because that is one route that I've heard many talking points on getting people back to, Christian ethics and that whole concept and going back to church and kind of along with the whole
No,
MAGA
I think
movement.
I think there's something to more. I'm not religious, right? Last time I went to
Mhm,
church, other than for a wedding or a funeral, was 40 something years ago, 46, 7 years ago.
mhm,
Religion, no. It's not my thing, right?
Mhm.
I respect anyone who has religious beliefs. I never put them down. Um, it's not my thing. I do think from the sense that it would introduce, how do I want to put this? It would introduce our ability back to meet and communicate as human beings, if that makes sense, right?
Mhm.
As opposed to using these devices in our hands. Personal connection, I guess, is the way I'll go with it,
Mhm.
versus ones and zeros on the internet. I
Yeah.
think in that perspective, yes, that could work. I just don't see it happening. I just don't.
Well, I mean, I would look at the church Christian community, right, in a sense of because if we get rid of casual sex, we already admitted that that was an issue,
It's
right?
definitely an issue without question.
So pushing it would if more families were raising their children in a be a virgin until you get married kind of concept, you kind of would at least delay the casual sex portion for a long time, if not hinder it completely.
Mhm.
So we could go that route, and you're building that foundation, that value system, those principles with your children. So when their friends are all running out to the bars and going home at night with random strangers, your child has a better foundation to where something like that would not fancy them, right?
Mhm. Yep.
So then when they do meet that one and then they get married, now they're coming together kind of untarnished by the world because the casual sex atmosphere is not a very healthy one to
For
be,
anybody.
yeah, for a man or woman. Um, and I think that that is kind of what tarnishes relationships going forward or can have a play in that because it makes you think, oh, well, if I meet the one and I'm going to marry him and you're settling with that one thing, sexually, relationship wise, financial, like that is your person. When, oh, well, I once dated this one really rich guy. That was really nice riding around in a Ferrari.
Mhm.
Or that one guy was really well stacked downstairs. And, my husband's like, okay, but he's
I
not,
like the way you
you know what
put
I
that.
mean? I'm trying to use my words
No, I that
wisely.
was a good I like that one.
But
Um,
having prior experiences could lead to the idea of comparing your future spouse to past
mhm.
experiences or maybe missing out or thinking you might, man, am I missing out on these other things? Whereas when you're entering a relationship completely untarnished by anyone else, that's all you know. You have nothing else to compare it to. So in
Good
that
point.
event, that your husband, your wife is the one and only thing that you know to have a relationship with, have a sexual companionship with, emotions, all of these things. So reaching externally wouldn't necessarily be something you'd go for because this is the only thing you know.
I wholeheartedly agree with you. I have to say that, right? That whole
Mhm.
concept. I just don't know if it's doable anymore. I think the genie's out of the bottle. I see every benefit to what you're saying, every
Mhm.
single one. I can think of some possible negatives, but all in all, I think overall it would be a positive, right?
Mhm.
I just don't know if you can get that genie back in the bottle because look where we are as a society, right? Like we mentioned earlier, we've lost the ability to have human interconnection other than on a mattress, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And that's not human connection, right? That's biological connection for as a manner of speaking, to keep it
Mhm.
somewhat family friendly, right? Hooking up for a couple hours and going your separate ways. Sure, it's I guess okay for those couple of hours, but and I'm not saying I have never done that because I have,
Yeah, I think
but
everybody
everybody. I
can
mean,
check a
I'm
box.
not sitting there going, look, I mean,
Yeah.
come on, but those interactions to me were biological, if you will, right?
Mhm.
They weren't love, they weren't relationships, they weren't connection in any way.
Mhm.
And maybe as a man, that's me. I've spoken with women about it. Some have disagreed, some have agreed, by the way, right? It's
Mhm.
seems to be all over the place. Uh, I think the younger women that I've spoken to recently have that mindset older ones don't. They want
Right.
more of the connection.
Mhm.
And again, I don't know where it is. I'm not a woman, right? But I think if we don't address it in some form, and what heartens me in somewhat is the younger, the generation coming up. I don't know what, there's millennials, Z, I don't freaking know, right?
Mhm.
The one that's behind them, which would be the kids in high school now, middle school and
Yeah.
high school, they're tending to run more quote unquote conservative. And I don't mean
Yes.
politically, I'm talking socially, right?
Yeah.
I think that might be a turning point. Time will tell, and I probably won't be around to see, right? Um, you know, humanity runs on a pendulum.
Mhm.
And we went way to one side,
Yeah, we
right?
did. It's all over
Um,
there.
and now it's coming back. And my
Mhm.
fear would be that it would come back too far the other way, back to quote unquote Puritan times. We don't want that either. Um, Over time, it tends to find an equilibrium. But go back to what your original question was: what should we do? I honestly don't know that there is an answer now.
Mhm.
I think we've become so siloed as a society based on gender, race, politics, basically everything, right? What grocery store we go to now. I mean, I've seen people fighting over that.
Mm.
And that's insane to me. It's, you know,
Well, what if we removed the government from,
as a libertarian, I'm all for
getting
it.
if what if we removed the government from handling marriages and divorces altogether and throw it back to the church?
I don't have a problem with that. With some conditions, obviously you have to protect
Mhm,
people, right?
mhm,
I have never been a fan of needing to go get a license from the government to go get married or anything else for that matter, right?
mhm,
I'm a libertarian, so I will tell you I'm anti-government of every type, right?
mhm.
But I'm also realistic to know that you need to have some government, right?
Right.
But
But see, within a church, like, it becomes a church community problem.
yes,
Johnny and Jane are having a rough marriage issue. They don't want to do this anymore. XYZ. Like
mhm,
the community will work on that and until that problem is resolved, right? And even like I'm Catholic, so you can't get a divorce unless your priest approves of it. And even more so, you can't remarry unless you have the absolution of your prior. So sending it back into the church community, your accountability. I have no accountability to the government other than what my legal rights are, right?
right,
But
right.
within my community, I am accountable to them and their rules, and if not, I can get chastised out. I can be pushed out
Really?
of that community. Yeah. So like
Hmm,
I
okay.
would yeah, so you there's we have very specific. I mean, I'm Catholic, so our rules are very specific.
My
There's
wife is Catholic too, so I'm somewhat familiar with the rules,
Mhm.
but I also see them broken by everybody. So it's like,
Well,
yeah,
yes, but so for instance, if I didn't have my marital vows, what's the word? Not
annulled.
annulled. Thank you.
You're
If I
welcome.
didn't have those annulled within the church, I would not be able to marry again within the church, and it would not be a. I would be living in sin for the rest of my life if I
Yeah,
married or
that
had sex with anyone
that
after.
whole concept to me is
Mhm.
insane, right? It's like
But
that,
it's accountability,
but I
right?
get what you're saying, right? It's
So to me, that's kind of important because when I got married, my church vows were under the Catholic ruling, and there's a lot of work that goes into it. There's a pre-wedding stuff, post-wedding stuff, and all of these things into play.
Mhm.
So my account, you were speaking earlier to the accountability. Well, I'm held accountable to this community and this church and these rules, and if I don't abide by that, uh, then get out. You know what I mean? Like, or
Yeah,
you're welcome, but you're not going to be understood the same way as us as a community are.
you get ostracized, I guess, is what you're
Yes.
saying. Yeah,
Mhm.
and that again, you're getting to religion, which is not something.
Mhm. Yeah,
It's not that
right.
I'm not comfortable talking about it. I just don't have enough experience with it, and
Mhm.
like I said, I'm agnostic, I
Mhm.
guess, to the extreme. All right. If I were going to join a religion, it would be Buddhism. I mean, just
I like that.
I actually read up on it and I'm like, oh, I like a lot of the tenets of it, right?
Uh-huh.
Um, but to your point, could that help us get back to reality? I do think that's an avenue that should be looked at.
Mhm.
Again, I'm hesitant to go all in on it from the sake of, you think back to the 1950s
Mhm.
when people were basically not allowed to divorce. Obviously, people were getting divorced, but
Mhm.
then you have, abuse situations and all that. There's got to be some sort of caveats in there. There's no right or wrong with any of this.
Mhm.
What I do think needs to happen is that there needs to be an understanding level of our society that men and women are very similar and very different at the same time, right?
Mhm.
We're probably, I know biologically we're about, I don't know, 90 something percent, but I think we're probably 80 to 85% similar in a lot
Mhm.
of, things. But we're also 10 to 15% not. And now that's being demonized instead of celebrated. And that's where the siloing is coming in, right?
Mhm.
And the problem is feminism has siloed for 50 years. What you're seeing now in a different form is men siloing, right? MGTOW, if you will, men walking away. And I'm an advocate for it right now because it has become so dangerous for men to be out in society around women with false allegations so rampant, right?
That is an issue. Yeah, I do agree with that.
I think we need to, for lack of a better term, break the narrative
Mhm.
that we've had for the past 50 years until we can have an understanding that, what, men do have issues. Men are human beings because most people don't view us as human beings right now. We are not disposable. We have rights. We have feelings. We have emotions, and we're goddamn entitled to them, right? We are not quote unquote providers, protectors, and wallets.
Mhm.
And that's what we are viewed as right now, societally. And that's been ingrained for 3 generations. You're not going to reverse that right away. And the only way to reverse it, in my opinion, right now, and I would love to be wrong on this, is for men to do what they're doing, which is walking away. Keep in mind, they're not just walking away from women, they're walking away from society, right? Last
Mm.
numbers I saw, and they keep throwing them out there, are 7 to 8 million working age men have dropped out of the workforce for a lot of reasons. A lot of it has to do with false allegations,
Well,
but
what are they
no,
doing? What are they doing
they're sitting
instead
home
of
playing video games. That's what they're doing, right?
Okay.
How they're surviving, I don't know,
Yeah,
right?
that's is that like a
Um,
mama's basement concept kinda
Probably
thing
it
or
probably is. Although, you look at women are doing the same thing, but men are getting vilified for it, right? And I say that horrifically,
Mhm.
right? That's not a good thing for anyone, but especially for the men, right? I get it. I understand it. I even respect it, but we can't have this happen. This is not good for men. It's not good for society. It's not good for women either, by the way, right?
Mhm.
But until we decide to say to these boys, I say boys, even though they're adults, right? I'm 62. I get to say it. Until we say to them, you matter, your issues matter, that nothing's going to change. And we're not there yet as a society. And that's the whole point of my channels and my advocacy, really, when it comes down to it, right? Is to get those talking points that men have out there. And as you said yourself, I get hated for it.
Mhm.
Think about that for a second. My advocating on behalf of men and boys is viewed as hate speech. I hear it every single day. Every single day. I get death threats on average 2 a month. Most are, okay.
Yeah.
I've had a couple
Oh, no.
serious one, like law enforcement got involved. Okay. They are so determined to silence me. But when you really listen to what I'm saying, right? Yes, I entertain and I play the game a little. I freely
Yeah, I
admit
think
that,
that's
right?
fair. I
I'm
think
not
that's fair. We
but
all do.
when you look at my more serious videos where I talk about like boys falling behind in school
Yeah.
or male victims of domestic violence, they hate me more for that than when it's all women, right?
So do you think that feminism, instead of like, this is how I view feminism, and maybe you have a different take, but men were here once, right? In terms of their leadership roles in society, they were the providers, protectors, they were the main breadwinners. And in terms of what they could or couldn't do in society, this is the level I viewed men at. They could vote, they could do all these things, and women, we were like here, right? And then you had the suffragette system, right? And then we started getting pushed up a little higher, like, oh, now we could do this. I mean, women could have always worked. That's not uh that's not out of play. Like, women have always worked in society. That goes all the way back. It's just a matter of, oh, now we can vote. Oh, now we're sexually liberated. Oh, now we can get birth control. Oh, now we can do this. Oh, now we can do that. Oh, now we can now you have to take a back seat. And now I want your this and I want to do that and I want all these other things, but I have to push you down in order to allow myself to build up. And I think that feminism went way over the line in terms of, like, I understand the idea of, like, making sure we have an equal pay gap, or making sure that we can
What
get
pay
a
gap?
yeah, the
There is
or we
no pay
can
gap, never has been.
right, or maybe making sure we could have a credit line. I think that's
Oh,
kind of like
let's
the
talk about that,
tall
Sarah.
that was like
Oh,
it was like, if you look at the divorce rates, it was in the 70s when we could get mortgage credit lines and we could do those things. And
darling,
I think it was
darling.
1971,
No,
and
it
then
wasn't.
was
You're
it not?
wrong. You could always get credit lines and mortgages. That is a lie
Without a cosigner.
without a cosigner.
Without a cosigner.
You could
And
absolutely women could get loans. Women could have bank accounts. They could have credit cards. I did a whole video on this.
there was what was the
No,
it was
no,
like a
no, no, no.
mortgage.
It was the 1974 Equal Opportunity Act, or I forget the exact terminology of it, right? And it did not
Mhm.
single out women, by the way. It singled out no one. Okay.
No, there was something else where
No,
women could get.
that's feminism's bullshit. No, you
No,
need to
I
go watch
looked
the
this
video.
up. All right, I'll watch it. All right. But
What you're watching, what you're listening to is resources and sources from feminists. Okay. If
no,
that's
this
the,
was
you ever use, let me ask you
I
something. Did
yeah.
you ever use Maybelline makeup?
Oh, I don't know.
You know what
I
Maybelline makeup is, right?
probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Been around since the 40s. Owned by a woman. How does that be if she couldn't have a bank account and get mortgages and get loans?
Father, husband,
Nope.
cosigner, I don't
Nope.
know.
Nope.
There are
There were
exceptions,
no
right?
laws that prevented women from getting loans. None.
Mm.
Go find one. I defy you. By the way, you want to talk about voting? There were
Yeah.
women voting in the 14, 15, 16, and 1700s in the US.
That was state to state, though. I think New Jersey allowed it, and then they
Women
shut it down
women
because
got the universal right to vote in 1918. Men only got it about 20 years earlier. It was based on land ownership.
yeah.
So if a woman owned land, and a lot of them did, they
Mhm.
could vote.
Well, actually, the biggest issue that was out there for voting was your religion.
There was a whole
Yeah,
bunch of stuff.
yes, because it was state to state. The states had the right to make whatever voter laws that they
But the
wanted for
fact of the
them.
matter is,
Mhm.
women did vote and could vote, and there were
Mhm.
men that couldn't vote. But we don't
Yeah.
want to have that conversation, not you and me, but
Mhm.
feminists will not acknowledge that. They say absolutely not. And I would also argue that women have had the right to vote for 100 and whatever years now.
Mhm.
Men don't.
What men don't
All men in the United States.
have the right to vote?
Nope.
How do you
Not
figure?
not unless they sign up for selective service. Their right to vote is conditional. Women
Mhm.
have it absolute.
Well, do you so for the draft, right?
Mhm.
Okay, do you want women to be draftable?
Yes. Why not? Are you not strong and independent and capable women?
Yes, but
So why can't you go fight?
you also mentioned the birth decline, right? So we're already on a birth decline. Let's pretend we go to war tomorrow.
Yep.
And I'm not even saying it as women strong, independent, or whatever. I'm saying it in a more of a logical standpoint. So if we went to war tomorrow, a
Mhm.
bunch of men got drafted over, and let's pretend all the women get drafted too. We
Yep.
send all of these, we want the young and able, right? So 18 to 25-year-old women
Mhm.
just get sent over. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Well, those are our baby makers. So
Are they?
even if we win war, right? When like now we
Oh,
lost all
Sarah.
of the baby makers.
So how many million women are there in the United States?
Oh, I have no idea.
About 170.
Okay.
Not all of them, obviously, are of
Mhm.
age to produce babies, but the majority
Mhm.
of them are.
Mhm.
550 roughly thousand soldiers died in World War II.
Mhm.
Let's assume we go to war and go 10 times that number, God forbid, right?
Mhm.
5 million people in our armed services died. If the services are 50-50,
Mhm.
that would mean 2.5 million. We could withstand that with no problem.
Mhm.
So that argument you're making is completely moot. That's the argument that's made to make men disposable.
No, no,
Yes, it
it's
is. That's exactly the
actually
argument that's made to make men
no, I've heard
disposable.
that argument from anti-feminist people. I've heard anti-feminist people utilize that
Correct. Oh
argument
yeah.
as a way to say that they wouldn't want women to be drafted, but women should be at home in the kitchen, uh,
Yeah, that's the
making
Republican mindset,
cookies.
right?
Right.
It's we have to protect the women. Bullshit, right? Look at Ukraine right now. 2 generations of men have been killed, wounded, or maimed
Mm.
in the Ukraine. The women are home making TikTok videos. How is that right?
I don't know.
You want equality, but you don't want equality. You want equality when
Well,
it I'm not saying you
yeah, yeah, yeah,
personally,
yeah.
right? But you are making that argument. You want equality when it suits you, but
Mhm.
only when it suits you. When it's the other way around, oh hell no. We got to go back to the 1950s right now. No good, right? I say to you, women absolutely should be drafted,
Mhm.
absolutely should serve, absolutely should be in combat. Let them fight and die.
Yeah,
Why
I mean,
why are
I
men so disposable that we can send them off to be killed by the hundreds of thousands,
Mhm.
but women are soft and sugar and spice and everything else because we need them to have
So
babies.
there's 2 things going on here because I was in the military myself. Like,
Mm,
I have no problem with it. I'm all for it. Like, I went in, did my time, whatever, got out, life's good. Nobody's dying over that one. But there's two variations going on here. So first we hear we don't want women in combat roles, right? We don't want them there for logical reasoning. The reason being, number one, men are significantly stronger. You and I both already
that's true.
discussed and
Yep.
agree with that. Two, you guys are just better at boom, boom, bang, bang, stab, stab, like all those things. Like you're just
I disagree with you on that. I think women are
well, we
every
are
bit as
better
capable.
sharpshooters, right? I believe if you take a woman and she doesn't have any prior like
They
pew pew training, and you sit her down and you teach her exactly how to do a sharpshooter type of work, she can actually
yeah,
just target in
I'm
do
married to
really
one.
awesome.
First time I took her shooting, she outshot me.
Damn,
Yeah, she's
that's
that good. She's
impressive.
that good. She's a
That's
nut.
very
I mean, but I
impressive.
get your point, right?
Mhm.
The argument you're making though is actually I can prove how it's invalid.
But we want well, let me finish because
Go ahead.
we
Go ahead.
want both directions. First, we don't want women in combat roles, but we don't want them in the military. But you have to be drafted if you want this equal vote. But you like, well, I want you to be at home, not worrying about this. But then I want you, like, I'm hearing all sorts of different angles from so many different sectors. And it's like, would you dudes just make up your mind? Where do you want us?
But it's not the dudes, it's the women too, right?
Hmm.
What was your MOS in the military?
I was a SEER instructor.
Okay. So, logistics comes involved, all this stuff, right? I will throw out the counter to your whole argument in
Mhm.
3 words.
Okay.
Israeli, Defense Force.
And what is that in your?
Israel's army
Mhm.
is men and women
Okay.
equally. Everybody in Israel serves. Doesn't
Mhm.
matter what your gender is. Have you ever run across a female member of the IDF? Because I have.
Mm-mm.
And she was about half my size, and I wouldn't want to go up against her. Right. And I've had a couple of them reach out to me going, thank God for me, because I fully support them. Women are every bit as capable. Are they the same strength and all that? And I know people are going to disagree. In fact, some have it already in the thing, but
Mhm.
women can serve. Does that mean can they drive an Abrams tank? Yes, they can.
Mhm.
Okay. Does that mean they can do Navy SEAL shit? Probably not. Right. But I'm all for them getting the opportunity. If you can pass the test with no downgrades,
Yeah.
100%. Right.
Yeah, the standard should be the same across the
So
board, I
exact. But
believe.
getting back to our first point that will let us down
Mhm.
this path, why is it men have to sign up in order to be able to vote and women don't? Because I'll tell you right now, if women were draftable, you could use them to just do logistic work.
Mhm.
But we don't want, nope. Feminists don't, no, we can't do that. No, the combat, right?
Yeah.
It takes 10 people to provide all the stuff necessary for one soldier to actually fight.
Mhm.
Why can't 5 of those 10 be women? Draft
I
their
would
ass.
be I would be totally okay.
Draft their
Well,
ass.
I guess you could take what the current army, because the women are what, 20% of the military now.
Somewhere in that area.
If they're not going hand-to-hand combat and you want that support system, women could always come back, fill in the logistical roles, and send those men out. I mean, that would be in terms of a supplemental issue. But I would totally, if I had to sign up to be drafted in order to vote, I'd be totally okay with
You
it.
would, but you're
I
not in the
don't
minority for
Right.
women.
Well, I don't know, because I think most women are just like, whatever. Like, what are the chances of us being drafted anyways? What are the
Zero. Right
exactly?
now, it's zero because you're not required to sign up for it, but men are.
Well, what I'm saying is, what are the chances of a draft happening?
A lot higher than you think right now.
No, last time I checked on the website, it was like 0.0000000.
Yeah, that's what the website's saying. If we go to war with China or Russia or
Hmm.
South Korea, sorry, North Korea,
Hmm.
the draft will be back like that. That argument that women love to make. Well, there hasn't been a draft in 50 years. So what? The
Well,
opportunity is there to be drafted. You're
mhm.
making that argument to get yourself an out, right? If
No,
there's the low risk of
I'm
draft.
using it as an in for women to say, what are the chances of it actually
Oh,
fine,
okay.
sign
Well,
me
and
up.
that's my
Like,
argument, right? Is
yeah.
okay, if your argument is that there's a little chance of a draft, then you should be all for
Mhm.
women being forced to be signed up for selective service in order to have the right to vote. Because women have the right to vote now without having to do that.
I wonder if maybe because this is kind of a political arena, like we're not making these decisions, right? Our government's making this decision. So I wonder if you kind of take the cat out of the bag, if you allow that, like, okay, fine. In order for you to be able to vote, you have to be able to, you have to sign up for the draft, male
Mhm.
or female, whatever the case may be. But once you open that door, now you completely open it for everything. Like, women can now do any and everything in the military. I mean, of course, standards and tests, right? But
Yeah, as
but
long as you pass
you
the test, I think they
yeah.
absolutely should be able to.
Hmm.
If a
But
woman,
I wonder if maybe that's a control valve.
I've talked to politicians about it. They
Hmm.
default back to men are just, I mean, they won't say this, but it's men are disposable and women need to be protected. Both parties, by the way, right?
Hmm.
They just can't, they'll never go there because they also know feminism would lose its mind. And they would, right? It's I
Feminism's
mean,
too
my,
busy playing in the LGBTQ community
well,
right now.
that's all.
Like,
We
they're
can go down that
they're
road
too
if you want.
busy over
Yeah, it's
there
like,
right now.
and that's
I
where
think.
my, like I told you at the beginning of the show, my
Mhm,
best friend is an old school feminist.
mhm,
She despises what feminism has become, and that's one of the
mhm.
arguments she makes,
Yeah, I
right?
think it's there's the turf, There's like the turf
Uh,
side of things, and then there's the like super
it's I
crazy.
mean, I sit back and just look at it and laugh. I gotta be honest with you, right?
Mhm.
No one spews more hate and vitriol at women than women, right?
Yes.
Y'all hate each other. You
Yes.
know, and that's I mean, we can kind of go down that path if you want, but I
Mhm.
one of the things that I this is going back to what we were talking about with how do we, get men and women back together and all that.
Mhm.
One of the things that's got to be fixed, and men have nothing to do with this, is this war women have between the working women and the stay-at-home moms, right?
Mhm.
And it is war,
Oh,
right?
it is.
I co-host a live show every Wednesday called Boy
Mhm.
Meets Squirrel. Shameless plug. My partner is a stay-at-home mom. She's my co-host, right? She's an amazing woman. The amount of vitriol and hate that she gets is 100 times mine, if not more.
For
And
being
it's
a stay-at-home
one
mom?
it is one for being a stay-at-home mom, two for being a stay-at-home mom that cares about her two sons, three for loving her husband, God forbid, right? I mean, she's gotten death threats. She shared this on the show. It was last week or the week before. Recently, she
Mhm.
was told that they hoped that she's been SA'd before.
Oh,
They hope
no.
that it happened to her again, and this time
Oh,
they did it right.
no.
I said to her, "How many of us were men?" She goes, "0. It's 100% women." She's
That's
not
nasty.
Sarah. She's not alone. I talked to give or take a dozen or so female creators in the same space as me. They'll universally tell you they get way more hate from women than men.
Oh, no. Mine's all men.
You know, but yeah, but
I
you're not really in the space, right?
I mean, well, we're like manosphere, we're
You're
debate,
all
there's
over. You're in the middle,
I have
right?
a very large I even have the vinyl community, like a bunch of elder people who sit around and collect records.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
we're
yeah. You're
everywhere.
kind of in the middle, but if you were to come out as God forbid, a red-pilled man's rights activist, because if you speak out on behalf of men and boys, you're a red-pilled
Mhm.
anyway. You would within a week come hard for you, and that is women doing it to women, right? And you
Mhm.
see it. I mean, look at the videos that are out on TikTok. The and it comes from both sides. And I
Mhm.
sit there and I look at it going, what the hell happened to the sisterhood? Y'all hate each other. And I'll
Ugh.
give you another example. I have a lot of female friends. Privately, oh, they'll tell me stories. They will eviscerate their bestie. But when they're together face to face, oh, they're loving and all that. And I've asked them, I'm like, is this the way it is? Yeah. And I've observed it time and time again, right?
Yeah.
It's no one hates women more than women. Men don't even come close. And the reason I bring that up is not to knock women, but if you don't fix that, you're never going to fix the divide between men and women because we're looking at it going, what the fuck? Right? It's like,
Right.
why?
It's
I'll give you another.
well, that's because if I I'm trying to put it in their perspective, right? If I tear down another woman, that is one more man option that I have because
It's the
she's
female
out of
hierarchy. Yep.
yeah. Yeah.
That's,
If
it's
I
like,
walk into a room, it is my goal to try to be the star that shines the brightest. So, therefore, if I can ensure the other women feel insecure, down about
mhm,
themselves, look
yep,
stupid, whatever, or maybe talking to a man and be like, oh, I heard she slept with John last week,
yep.
you know, tears them down. And that's catty. Ugh, ugh,
It's
I,
it's it's
ugh.
an interesting dynamic to me, right? And that's not that I'm naive and wasn't aware of this, but
Mhm.
I didn't realize how bad it is.
Oh, it is out there. It's bad.
It's brutal what you guys do to each other because, you know, let's just go from the what feminism has now demonized motherhood.
Yes.
And I'm like, "Huh? Wait a minute." The greatest gift that
Mhm.
women have in the world,
Mhm.
one that men will never have, can never have. I'm sorry, men cannot have babies. Stop it. Okay. It's just biologically not possible.
You
all that stuff.
sure?
Yeah, I'm
I
100% sure.
know.
Um, yeah. Um, but when you look at that, this is the new thing now, right?
Mhm,
They have demonized motherhood.
mhm.
Whiskey, tango, foxtrot. How? How? Huh? Right? You should be celebrating motherhood.
Yeah.
We talked earlier about, things in the past, women owning businesses in the 1800s.
Mhm.
Name three women that own businesses in the 1800s. Can you name even one?
Oh, I know it is a thing. I couldn't name them for you, though.
Exactly my point,
Yeah.
right? And that's not a knock on you, Sarah.
Mhm.
Why hasn't feminism triumphed those women as it should, right? It doesn't. It puts them down. And I have a whole series of videos called The Falsehoods of Feminism. Please
Mhm.
go check it out, right?
Okay.
Because I cover a lot of this stuff, and it's not. I'm trying to help women, believe it or not men. Okay, because I'm trying to break this narrative they have. I am appalled personally that they are demonizing motherhood now. Like, it wrecks your body, it wrecks your life, and blah 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 blah. And I'm sitting there going,
Well,
"Wow,
those are true things in terms of, like, it does throw your body off, right? Your hormones change, everything goes through a loop. But what they're actually demonizing is the your willingness to sacrifice your body to have babies, and your willingness to sacrifice your career and sacrifice your time and sacrifice your youth. They're demonizing that. They say, no, be selfish, go buy a bunch of stuff, get a really big girl
be
job,
a
do
man, have a
be
career."
yes. And so that is the part that they're vilifying, is your youth, in that when you're most fertile, right? And you should be having
Mhm.
like I did it right. Like, I had my babies when I was in my early
But
20s.
here's the thing,
I did what
Sarah.
I'm supposed to do, and I'm
Right,
having a great life, right? I'm
and
in
that's
my
my point, right?
right. Like,
You
my kids
you
are grown and
Yeah.
doing those things, and
So you
I'm still
have the
having fun.
time now to do that stuff.
Right.
Here's the problem they're gonna have with these 20 and younger 30-year-olds
Mhm.
who they've now convinced that if you have motherhood, it's gonna wreck your life forever. There's a little thing called a biological clock.
Mhm.
And I know there's a study out there that women's eggs are fertile all along. That is a load of crap, okay? Come on. Name me 5 women over 70 that have had a baby. It ain't happening, okay? Let's be realistic here. There is a biological clock for women. I'm not saying that to put them down in any way, shape, or form. This it's they're teaching these women not to have kids. You know as well as I do, when a lot of women get late 30s and don't have children, boom, right?
You're more likely not than are
Right.
going to.
And the problem is now they're less fertile. There's more likely to have issues or complications with the pregnancy
Mhm.
if they can even get pregnant, so on and so on and so on, right? This is not good. And you're going to see in 10, 15 years a whole bunch of women that are 20s and young 30s now that are going to be miserable because they missed out. There was a woman that just put an article out. In fact, I have a video I just released on it, right? She's 63 years old. She's looking back, feminism ruined my love life. And one
Aw.
one of the things that she's an ardent feminist, by the way, right?
Mhm.
One of the things that's going to happen is you're going to see more and more of that. And I have long argued feminism hurts women more than it helps them. It wants to control women. It wants to control their mindset, right?
Mhm.
And that's what you're seeing with this whole demonization of motherhood. And I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me? As a rational human being, forget man or woman, why would you demonize that? It's
Well, and what I'm gonna do, because I want to be mindful of your time, because I know we said 2 hours. So
I'm
I
having a ball. We can go a little longer if you want.
oh yay! Well,
Not
what
too
I'll
I gotta get to
do,
bed, but
what I'll do, like 5 hours later, I could talk for hours. What I'll do,
oh, I
because
can
I know
too.
we wanted to offer questions to the
Yeah,
people, and
sure.
that
Let's do
that
it.
link that I sent to you, you're also welcome to drop that into your chat if you want people to come in as well. Um, uh, but we'll
I
do
don't have
one
it
at
up
a
in front of me right now. My
Here.
people, I've seen a couple of my people in there.
Okay, I'll put it in the private chat back there if you want to. You're welcome. It's up to you.
Yeah, I got it.
But
Let's dump it in. Yeah,
there you go.
I got it.
Collins. And we'll just do one at a time. So if they decide that they want to come on, they can. But God, I think materialism, consumerism, go get a college degree, go be independent. I think those are all things that kind of extrapolated the idea of utilizing your youth to make babies. And that's where we kind of, because when you think about it, if you're husband, wife, and you're 19, 20 years old and you have babies, you're growing together as a family, right?
Hmm.
You're starting in those like a starter home or maybe living at home with your parents, but now you already have a purpose. So your purpose is to grow and develop that family together as a whole. Whereas uh, people nowadays, you're in your 20s, you're doing your own thing. What am I accountable to? Nothing but myself.
Hmm.
I can travel, I could do this, I could do I owe nothing to anybody. So where's my purpose? Aside from, what do I feel like eating today? I don't know.
Yeah, it's like wandering aimlessly through life for
Mhm.
20 years, right? From roughly 18 to 38, and then
Right.
boom. Whereas my generation, you had your kids young. Like the best thing I ever did, I had my last child at 33, right? I was 51, get out. No, I'm only kidding. Right? Get the fuck out, right? Because then I was able to go and live my life, right?
Uh-huh.
I love my children to death, right? But I did my time, as I like to put it, right?
That's what I say. I did my
And
time. I'm doing my
I'm
time.
done. It's my time now, right? And I look at and I compare myself, Sarah. So I had a set of twins at 25, right?
Mhm.
Um, my best friend, male friend growing up, had a set of twins at 35.
Oh
My
God.
best female friend growing up had a set of twins at 45. Okay. And you can use us as a case study, right?
Mhm.
My twins matured out when I was 43. My male friend, 53. My female friend, guess what? They don't graduate till this year,
Oh my God.
right? And so, yeah, in theory, she had 20 years ago, right? She had a
Uh-huh.
free time, but I've had it now. When do you have more money, more opportunity, and all that to do all this stuff? When you're older, you've built
Mhm.
yourself, right? Again, I always look at it, it's an individual decision. You want to wait to have kids by all means. That's if that's your right, I fully support you on that. But we
Mhm.
need to make sure that people understand the realities of it all, right? Biology comes into play, income, all that stuff, wealth, all that stuff. To your point, building yourself up, right? Nowadays, I'm going to sound like a freaking boomer right now, but everybody seems to be living minute to minute. I got to have that
Oh,
new
they are.
I
Oh,
got to have
they
that new
are.
iPhone the minute it comes out,
Mhm.
right? My for 5 years, and the one I had before that, I had for 7 years. I've had 2 phones in 12 years. I know pe I know people that have had
Okay, boomer.
yeah, right? But I know people, the minute the new iPhone comes out, will go
Oh,
blow
that part drives me
$1,200 on it,
nuts. I can't
right?
believe
And
that.
then they say, "I can't afford to eat," or "I can't afford to pay my rent. I can't
Mhm.
buy a house." Well, if you took that $1,200 and put it in a decent growth fund, you could buy a house down the road,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
But
I
no,
agree.
and you look at, I mean, how many streaming services and all this other happy horse shit, right? And I'm
Mhm.
like, everybody hates boomers, but we didn't waste money on stuff, I think is the
Yes.
term used, right? Um, you know, I couldn't afford it. I worked 3 jobs to survive at from 18 to 22, right?
Mhm.
I wasn't, working one job 40 hours. Oh, hell no. I was working on average 100 to 115 hours a week to survive. But,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, I'm all for part-time on top of
I
part-time
had
on
to.
top of full-time.
I
Yeah.
had no choice, right?
Yeah. I feel like these kids these days um are
These kids, you
whiny
just aged
bitches.
yourself.
I'm okay with it. I'm 38, right? So I'm
Well, you're a
okay with
child.
that. I'm
Stop.
like,
I have
but
a son your age. Stop it.
but it drives me nuts to hear like the 20 somethings complaining about not having enough money. And I'm like, well, what do you do? And they're like, oh, I'm a barista at Starbucks. And I'm like, okay, what else do you do?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, that's it. I'm like, well, that's like I was working 3 jobs at your age. Get out of here. You know,
I laugh at it all because I hear what you're saying, and
mhm.
and you look at some of them, and they got this makeup that this little tiny bottle of makeup, and I don't know squat about makeup, and I'm like, well, how
Mhm.
much was that? $600. What?
Oh, no, that's nuts.
I mean,
Yeah, the Keeping Up with the Kardashians, we've
yeah,
got, all of the influencers, so it's like, even my daughter, sometimes she'll get close to that trap, like, "Mom, I gotta try out this new thing, such and such, let me show you, blah, blah, blah," and I'm like, "Are you getting it because they told you to get it?" You know, like, kind of reminding her, "Why do
yeah,
you
it's
really
you want to
need
keep up
it?"
with the Joneses, as I put it, to
Mhm,
age myself, but
mhm,
I there are things I have my toys, right?
mhm.
I mean, but I do it the right way.
Yeah, you can't just go and buy toys without taking care of the necessities first. But I will also say there is some degree of minimalism coming into play nowadays.
I do agree with you on that
Mhm.
100%. Yeah, I think,
Yeah.
and
We
again,
don't
it
we
goes
don't
back to what I said.
collect we don't like my age group and younger, probably more on the younger side, but I know myself, but like we don't collect stuff. I have people all the time getting knickknacks or this or that
Oh
for,
god, yeah.
birthdays or like things that are decorative and I'm like, that's
Says the guy with a
stuff.
bunch of knickknacks behind him,
Right?
but that's for video purposes. But
Right?
I think going back to what I said earlier, the generation, whatever they're called now, that's in middle school to high school, you're going to see a return to minimalism. I think with that
Mhm.
generation because they're already showing it.
Yeah.
It's again, we're kind of going all over the place with this stuff, but in reality, you you make your life. You and
Mhm.
you alone make your life, right? If you want to have a nice car, by all means, can you afford it? Fine.
Mhm.
But if you have to take out, like I was talking with a guy not too long ago, makes $42,000, give or take, bought an
Mhm.
$80,000 truck because he had to have it, right?
Why?
Exactly. That was my question. What do you need it for? Well, he's got all these reasons why he bought it. And I'm like, I can go on Facebook Market right now
Mhm.
or cars.com or any one of them, find a 14-year-old truck that'll do everything you just said, and I could pay cash for it
Yep.
and about 5 grand, right?
It's 100% materialism, and the credit companies don't they are just smiling as
He's
we
paying
go,
12% interest on that
"Oh
one.
my
I was like,
god, why?"
dude, I'm like, because he's broke, right? Because I mean, his car payment is more than my mortgage, right?
Then why
It's
buys
I like
I'm not gonna I'm
like I
judging him so hard right now. Tom Carpenter
as you
says,
should.
yeah, right? Tom Carpenter says, I'll publicly say I screwed up twice. Once I'd say 98% me, the other less than 50% me, but I need to be accountable for what I ignored going in as well as my failures during. Is that a common thing you hear? Like, especially the first and then the second marriage kind of concept?
Yes, I hear it all the time from men. Yeah, I don't think it was that way 20 years ago, but
Hmm.
men have finally woken up to this stuff, right?
Hmm.
And they are holding themselves accountable and saying back then, and they've paid the price.
Hmm.
So, what Tom is saying is exactly what I'm hearing time and time and time again. What's interesting though, Sarah, is Tom saying it, I'm saying it, our generation saying it. You know who's hearing us the most?
Oh.
The 20-year-olds. And they're like, "Oh, I ain't making that mistake." And I just go, "Thank you." Right? That's why
Well,
I
do you want them to do that though? I mean, we're already on a birth rate decline. We're already heading, like societally in terms of our
right.
repopulation, you've already said like society's heading in a very
It's
far
doomed.
direction.
Right. It is doomed
But so why would we doom and gloom it? Why wouldn't we want to
because to
instead talk to those 20-year-olds and maybe give them like get prenups,
oh, I
look
do
for
that. I
this,
do
do
all
for
of that,
that.
right?
Right.
But here's the thing, Sarah, right? You can do
Mhm.
all that. and still get screwed, right? Prenups can get tossed very easily, mostly because people do stupid things when they don't follow the terms of the prenups. Like we could do a whole
Mhm.
show on that, and I'm not even a lawyer, but I know enough, right? Um, the problem is right now the way the laws are. They'll all tell you they're gender neutral the way they're written, and they are 100% correct, by the way. But the way they are applied is completely biased. And a man would have to be absolutely freaking insane to get married right now.
Well, would you blame judges then instead of the rest of society? I mean, if
No,
judges are applying the laws this way,
they get part
or
of the blame, but yeah, I would
then
blame everyone. I mean, it's society, it's the politicians, it's
mhm.
the bar association, probably more than anyone else,
Mm.
lawyers, judges, all of them. It is, when no fault divorce got pushed through, that was a major mistake, right? As far as societally, right?
Mhm.
Child support, all that crap, you know, they decided every father was a deadbeat and all that stuff, right? As a man, you are insane to get married right now. If I were not already married and I got a good one, right? It was not this way 15 years ago. It has changed so bad, become so bad. False allegations in divorce and family court are so rampant. I have divorce attorneys telling me it's rare they don't have a case with one now. It's become that bad.
Wow.
You have
Well,
to be freaking nuts to get married as a man.
because in order to it's part of like a triangulation, like to be the victim, right? If it's
A
easier if
guaranteed win.
yeah, if I come in and I'm like, "Oh, he beat me," well, I'm probably gonna have a better
You're gonna
chance of
get
getting
an
everything I
immediate
want.
TRO, or there's
Mhm.
different terminologies. So for you as a woman, you get to go in ex parte, or your lawyer does. He's not even
Mhm.
there. I am afraid of him. The five magic words. That's all you need to say. Some variation on that. You'll get an immediate TRO issued, temporary restraining order. There's different terminologies for it. He gets tossed from the house. You get
Mhm.
immediate custody of the kids, and he can come back and defend himself weeks or months later, usually months. Well, then the judge will go, well, the kids have been living with her for the last 6 months, so we're just going to leave that in place.
Mhm.
That's how it works. It's called the silver bullet, and it should be the platinum bullet, or what's the most expensive metal, right? Because it
Right.
works almost 100% of the time. Judges are getting better with it, right? But that's why when you have that, somebody just mentioned mandatory paternity testing. That's another one, right?
Okay,
There,
yeah.
there are so many things against men, and the reality is, like it or not, 55% of all marriages end in divorce right now, right?
Mhm.
80 to 90% of them are filed by women. So, as a man, why in God's name would you get married? Would you jump off a bridge knowing you had a 55% chance you're going to die? No, you wouldn't, right? I mean, to use that lame ass example, but that's what you're asking, not you, but society is asking men to do. We're not doing that game anymore. It's not happening. And until that changes, I would argue you'd have to be nuts to get married as a man, even relationships.
Well, but then they're still participating in casual sex and doing all these other things. So, I mean, society will degenerate.
It already is.
But it'll get even worse if
Yep.
if at the very least we're not reproducing. Kokomo says, "Keep doing what you're doing, man. We're all we're asking for is fairness in the system."
That's, by the way, Sarah, that is the most common thing I hear.
Really?
And that is what men are arguing for.
That's
Fairness.
I think that's
And we're
yeah.
and we're hated for it.
Mhm.
Why?
I don't know, cause 'cause you're big, strong man. You take care of yourself. You'll be all right.
Yeah, and I can. And I mean, I'm just having fun with this, right? But
Mhm.
I can take care of myself, and I don't need
Mhm.
a woman for that.
Right. Right. Rude Mud Crab says the single father self deletion rate is way too high. It's a symptom of this equality. All right, tell me about that.
So, on average, Well, you're just hitting all my things today. On
I
average,
told
about
you this is what my
I
community
love it. I'm
loves.
loving it, loving it. I will stay on for another hour if you want. It's up to you.
Oh wow.
Well, maybe not that long. We'll see.
It's
Um,
okay. We'll die
my
down a little
bedtime was half hour ago. But anyway, um, on average, about 100 men self-delete, because we got to use the right term here, right?
bit. Hmm.
It's a whole other argument.
Yeah.
Every day. Um, Depending on who you talk to, about 20 of them are due to PTSD, veteran, that type of thing,
Hmm.
right? Did you know that about 40 of them are due to family court and divorce?
Really?
Yeah.
No, I didn't
There
know
are
that.
no hard studies yet because nobody wants to talk about it. But the data that's out there is showing
Hmm.
that 40% of the time, when you start looking at like the population who's doing it,
Hmm.
are they divorced? About 40-ish percent of the time. I would love a true actual study to be done. I actually think the number's higher. When you
Well, wait a minute, because correlation causation. So I want to ask, are you
Mhm,
saying that like right after they get a divorce, it's because of the
mm-mm,
divorce they're self-deleting, or it's during the divorce process,
it's all of it.
or
It's all of it.
okay.
It's think about it from this perspective. If you go into family court, like we just talked about a false allegation, and you're the woman you loved and who claimed to love you is now telling everyone, including the judge, that you molested your children. And
Oh,
then you have your
yeah.
children taken away from you.
Okay, I
And
see.
then you at best get supervised visitation. More often than not, you get completely cut off. That's one example. Then you have parental alienation, which is a whole other topic, right? Which is
Hmm.
rampant also. The list goes on and on. When you look at it reasonably, with take the gender out of it and all that, I think it's a much higher number than 40. I think it's probably 50 to 60.
That actually breaks my heart. Again, I'm so thankful for my ex-husband, like, and our ability to do this very well,
But that
because I
speaks to
just
you, though, right? Because
right,
you're
and
not
that's
out to destroy him. Most women
right.
are out to destroy
And
their ex.
that's the part I'm not understanding, like, that is the father of your child. Why are you trying to
You could, if
destroy
you
the
could
father
explain it
of
to
your
me,
child?
exactly my point, right?
Right.
They don't see it that way, though. They see it as I'm going to get revenge, um, in
But
whatever that
the
is.
revenge is you get a divorce, move on, right? Like, isn't that what you want? You don't wanna be with them
You would
anymore.
think.
Aren't you happy now?
I
You're getting
mean,
what you want.
it's
You get to
insanity to
be
me.
free.
That's why
Yeah.
I say women are insane, right?
Mhm.
I mean, I say that I don't mean all of them, but
Mhm.
what you're saying is exactly what we see as men, right? It's
Right.
why would you want to destroy the father of your children? What
Right.
Who's going to get hurt more than anyone? Not
The
even him,
children.
the
It's the
children,
children.
right?
It's so
And if you drive him to commit, can't use the word,
Yes.
self-delete, right?
Mhm.
Wow, right? And I've actually seen women say they were glad he did it, but that's a whole other thing. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
No.
Oh yeah. But you see that you see things like parental alienation. I'll give you another one that you probably would never even consider. Domestic violence victims, men
Mhm.
unalive themselves all the time. It's their only way
Really?
out.
Well, and we don't do a whole lot of recognition. When I know you and I have kind of tapped into this
That's a
early
whole
on, but
thing. Yeah.
that's we don't recognize it. And I guess because we look at you guys as, oh, you're not allowed to show emotion, you're not
Hmm.
allowed to be less than, you have to always be strong,
Hmm.
protective, right? And to me, I think it's like if you were able to be, I don't want to, if I could put it into a perspective, I don't want to know that you were weak and were vulnerable and got hurt, because if they can do it to a man, then now every woman is capable of having the same thing happen to her. Whereas if we know that it happens to a woman, okay, we are weak, we are vulnerable, but that doesn't mean all it's going to happen to us all, because like that happened to a weakling, right? If it happens to a big, strong man, now my hopes of human society have gone out the
Yeah, and
window.
that's the perspective a lot of women have, I think, right?
Mhm.
But again, that goes back to you're dehumanizing men then. That's a dehumanization
Mhm.
of men
Right.
because you're devaluing their ability to have emotions, feelings, why they self-delete, right?
Mhm.
Because they're told you're supposed to be a strong man. How dare you cry, you little
Mhm.
loser incel, you know? Weak little boy. I've had it said to me, right? I had my dog die a couple months ago.
Oh, no.
I put a video out purposely, crying my eyes out, knowing I was going to get blasted. Now, 95% of the people were very supportive, right?
Uh-huh. It's your
And
dog.
and it was also my way of getting through it, right?
Mhm.
It was something I needed to do to celebrate her.
Mhm.
And you can go watch the video, but I knew what was coming. And oh boy, did I get a few, right? And I'm sitting there going, the whole perspective was that I was not allowed to cry and that I was no longer a man. And oh, by the way, I had a couple of men say the same thing, right?
Wow.
That's what men are up against. And that's why they unalive themselves. We talked about male victims of domestic violence. There's nowhere for them to go in many states. So the only out they have, and again,
Wow.
there are no stats, there are no studies, there is nothing. I have advocated for this with politicians saying you need to fund a study on this.
Well, how many men admit to it?
They don't admit to it because no one asks. They admit to me all the time. Go look at my comments on my videos.
Wow.
There are thousands of men's admitting to. See, everybody says men don't admit to it. Now, do they do it to the level they should? No, they don't, right?
Mhm.
But they are doing it. No one's listening to them. I
Mhm.
do. And that's why, like people will reach out to me. I get hundreds of emails and DMs a day. I can't possibly keep up with them. My fear, Sarah, is that I'm going to miss one and somebody's going to unalive themselves.
Oh, no, that would be terrible.
But I
But at
can't.
least they have someone, right?
But I
They have
can't
to
answer
find
them all.
you.
But
Right,
I
they
can't
have
answer.
to.
There's no way I'm a one man operation. So
We need to expand your call
I,
center.
yeah. I'll actually, well, that's a whole other thing. Go ahead.
Mhm. Tom says many laws were created when women limited their business value advancement for the family during marriage, then didn't have the business value when the marriage ended. Laws must evolve with society and be more situational.
It's an interesting point. So, part of what I think he's talking about is going back to what we were talking about earlier that you were saying women couldn't have bank accounts and all that. The reason they
Mhm.
couldn't get loans was not because they were women, it's because they didn't have jobs. I know it's crazy to think people have to pay back loans, especially now, right? Because we don't want to pay any loans back. But
Well,
um,
women used to not be required to. If you go even further back, they were never required to owe debts. It was the husband's or father's
but
responsibility
that was
to.
because they had the jobs. Women
Mhm.
didn't have the income. It has nothing to do with gender.
Mhm.
It's strictly who had the income.
Well,
Always
women have
been there.
always worked, though.
Not to the level you can't. It's not the same, right? It's the same thing now.
Mhm.
If you get a women's studies degree and go become a little social worker making $40,000 a year, which is what you're going to make, right?
Mhm.
Versus a guy who doesn't go to college and is a plumber and is making multiple six figures, who's the one that's going to get the loan?
Yeah.
They say that's the point,
Mhm.
and that's the way it's always been. But we don't want to have that conversation.
No,
We
I
got
I agree with you there.
we have
Yeah.
to make it about gender, right? It's not nothing to do with gender. But to Tom's point here, right, is
Mhm.
I do think the laws need to be changed, evolved, and applied. I love the way he put it, situationally, right?
Mhm.
Instead of hard and fast. And I'm not even saying the way they're written, because again, going back to my point with, like, for example, family law, if you read the actual statutes, they are 100% gender neutral.
Mhm.
I don't know of a single instance where they're not.
Mhm.
It's the application they're in. When judges are awarding primary physical custody to the mothers 85 to 90% of the time, to say there's not a bias is ridiculous, especially since women are not working as in the home. They're out working in a career now, right?
Mhm.
So that whole argument that they're the ones taking care of the kids is a load of crap.
Well,
Um,
let me ask you this because I remember reviewing. There's a big study. This was a few years ago, but I think the percent of women who were filing for divorce were somewhere in the 70, 77%, something like that. But when we actually broke down the study and looked into it, And there was a very large percent of men who weren't even filing counter complaints. They weren't showing up for court. They weren't
Mhm,
settling. They were just leaving the woman to file, get it done, and over with. And
mhm.
they weren't adding their say into it. So, in terms of men fighting for their ability, even just to show up or even file paperwork in return, would you find that to be a bigger part of where some of this bias comes in, or bias
No,
assumption comes in based on data?
it's the bias that creates it. So here let's have a little fun, little role play,
Mhm.
so to speak. Okay,
Oh.
pretend you're a dad coming in to talk to me as a lawyer.
Mhm.
What's the first question you're going to ask me?
A dad come okay, so I'm married
You're
with
your ex-husband,
children.
yeah, but let's say it's
Uh,
contentious.
how much is this gonna cost me?
Ah, well, Sam instead of Sarah. I'm going to need $25,000 right up front. That's going to be your retainer. That's non-refundable, by the way. Okay. Now, do you want custody of the children?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
Well, I mean, 50-50, right? I mean, most people go for
okay.
50.
Well, yeah, you
Yeah.
want 50-50. Okay. Well, the reality is that she's probably going to fight you on that. So typical cost for that, another 10, 15, $20,000 above your retainer. And if I can be perfectly honest with you, because I'm a good attorney, I'm not one that's going to bullshit you to get more money out of you. Your odds of getting 50-50 or primary physical custody are less than 15%.
Why is there a $25,000 retainer? That's abnormal.
Not depends on the state. Oh,
Yeah, I mean, a
it's
retainer, well, I
uh,
mean, depending on what lawyer you're going to naturally
well,
and their billable hours, but you can only take a percentage retainer of, like, a certain
yeah,
specific
it
thing.
depends. I'm just using, it's
Yeah, I was gonna say
I'm you
because
got to remember I'm from New York originally. Okay,
yeah,
it's
but, I
a
mean,
whole
you fill a retainer based on the length of what they're
yeah.
anticipating your court case to be as well, but after they can only charge you so many billable hours in advance, right?
Well, in theory, yeah, but
Mhm.
I mean, again, it depends. That's so state specific as for, or
Mhm. Yeah, because I
if you
know
go to
there's caps.
yeah, if you go to like I don't know Iowa or something, it's not going to be. It might be 15, right? But
Mhm.
you get the point is don't get hung up on the number.
Right.
Think about the conversation.
Yeah.
You're going to pay me tens of thousands of dollars to lose, guaranteed, pretty much. Why would you fight?
If why? Because that's my babies.
No, that's her babies.
Those are my babies too, and I'll
No,
fight you tooth and nail even
good
if it
luck with
costs
that.
me everywhere.
I spent.
Well, see, I see that, but,
You're
I
not.
don't know. I don't
You're not the one that has to live it. I do, right? I spent 6 figures, Sarah. It took me 12 years to get the kids. And I had
Well, why are we not going 50-50? Why is it I get or
because
you get?
women don't want it.
That's the fucking craziest thing. Sorry, but that's the craziest thing
I
I've ever
agree
heard of
with
in my
you.
life. I mean, I look at it as like you kind of get
The problem is you're
some
sane. No, I'm
uh damn it. I took the non-crazy pill today.
I'll
I
tell
should
you
have
what,
taken the
yeah.
crazy feminist one so
I will
this could have
tell
gotten
you
a little more
why.
lively.
I'll tell you why women fight against it so hard.
Mhm.
Because most of them don't know the law. They think they'll lose money in child support.
Child support is God, I wish I okay. Yes, you're right. That's what they think.
I have to make sure he gets as little time as possible so I get maximum child support. Well, sweetie, this is what I say to them because right. And yes,
Mhm.
I'm being condescending when I say sweetie. Okay.
Mhm.
Listen, sweetie, the way the laws are, it doesn't matter whether he has them 49% of the time or 1% of the time. He's still paying the same amount in child support.
Well, it
What?
does depend on overnights, right? There is
To a point.
yeah, but it's not like a $10 million difference, right?
I
It's
understand that,
just
but
a percentage difference.
they want every freaking
But
cent.
they do know actually it's more cost effective to let the dad have the kids
Yeah,
more.
hello.
They
And,
figured
and
out
and
this,
here's the
right?
other thing. What do they all say? Oh, I'm exhausted. I have to spend so much time taking care of these kids. Let
That's what
dad have
that
them.
is for. Yeah,
Well, I
that's
can't
what
have that. He's not a good dad.
listen, go 50-50. Keep it nice and flexible. Have my advice to the ladies, go 50-50 on everything. Keep keep your time schedule, lock in a time schedule, but always remain flexible for each other. And just know that that's their father, and that child deserves to see their father just as much as you. And
And
you're
it's what
going to appreciate having a Friday night off where you can go let your hair
and it's
down somewhere.
the
And
best thing for the children too. And that's
it is.
there is no debate on that. I mean, it has been studied for 50 years, right?
Hmm.
I encourage anyone to go read, and he's a mentor of mine, Dr. Warren Farrell's
Hmm.
books, I should say, right? But look at the boy crisis in particular, which is not his last book, but the one before the last, right? I've interviewed him on that book. He's an amazing man. I read everything he's done. Warren did. Okay, it is unequivocal that children are better off when both parents work together
Yes.
and when you maximize up to 50% the time the children have with their father.
Hmm.
It is far more important for boys than girls, believe it or not. Okay. But that's not to diminish the role that it has for girls too in any way, shape, or form.
Hmm.
And when you consider, and I don't know the exact numbers off the top of my head, but 80% of the people in prison come from single mothers, right? You go across the gamut of issues. That's not a knock on single mothers. That's just simple fact.
I saw that one though. That study is also geographically based too. So it's a lot of like inner
There's
city,
multiple
low
studies though.
low
But there's
class,
multiple. You can't go by
low.
one study.
Right, but it was when we looked into it, it was very specific on demographics. So for instance, I'm a single mother in the suburb, uh, county line area. The great suburbia. Like
Mhm.
my kids' chances of seeing prison time are significantly, uh, like on the completely opposite end of that spectrum than it would be a child, for
But
instance,
that
in the
doesn't
inner city.
change the
Middle
fact
class.
that if you look at your city,
Mhm.
what's the data on the people from your city that go to
Mhm.
prison?
No,
You-
pretty slim yeah. Yeah,
That's you
that's what
have
I'm
to look at
saying.
that number, not
Well, that's
you're extrapolating
mhm,
data into something that doesn't apply, right? You're saying, let's say New York City versus, East Bejesus, Maryland, or wherever, right? You can't compare that's not apples to apples, right?
right.
You have to look at it from what is the percent, and obviously it's probably a smaller number, right?
Mhm,
Of people that actually go to prison. But when you look at that number, let's say
mhm.
hypothetically it's 100 boys or
Who
girls,
go to
whatever,
prison.
go to prison. How many of those in your area came from
Go
single mother
from
homes?
I see what you're
And
saying.
if you don't have that number, everything you just pointed out is complete bullshit. And that's not a knock on you, right?
Mhm.
That's exactly what the problem is with 99% of the studies out there. They don't take that step. And people love to in on these studies. And you look at, like I was reading a study not too long ago because some woman sent it to me proving that, oh, women do all the housework and men do none. And I looked at that study and I looked at the methodology. Guess how many husbands they asked about how much housework was being done?
How many?
Zero. So it was 100% data from women. Are you telling me that women never exaggerate?
Well, they
Never.
probably hold on, they probably sent you guys the list, you just never did the survey.
That might
They
be a fair point, but I would think at least one man would have replied, right? But what they did was if you looked at the methodology used in that study, which isn't
Mhm,
even worth the paper it's printed on, they only asked women. The
mhm,
questions were slanted, right?
mhm.
And they come to the conclusion that women do more housework than men. It's complete bullshit. The male loneliness epidemic, the study.
Wait,
there-
did maybe they have the words, "Do you feel like you do the most
No, but
housework?"
that's
'Cause
exactly your point. Is
mhm,
100% right. And of course, women feel they do it all
mhm.
because we have to be the victim.
We do.
It's like
We
the
do a
male loneliness
lot.
epidemic. Do you know you've heard about the male loneliness epidemic, right?
Mhm.
Doesn't exist. Do you know where that came from?
Women.
An article written by a guy
Mhm.
about 2, 3 years ago, who in Psychology Today and his study for this determination, it was an opinion piece, by the way, not a study, was he went on one of the dating profiles and did a little analysis. There's nothing,
Oh, the Tinder,
yeah,
yeah, and
there's
the numbers
nothing,
were all flawed though.
the
Like
whole thing is
everything.
bullshit. But the
Yeah.
problem was, if you actually go read his article,
Mhm.
he doesn't come to the conclusion, but the title, because they're trying to sell,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
but women now totally believe it. There's not a male loneliness epidemic. There's a male liberation epidemic.
yeah. Mhm.
Now, there is a male loneliness epidemic. It has nothing to do with relationships. It has to
Well,
do with,
don't you guys do better when you're partnered up versus women?
no,
Like,
not right. Not in the old days, 100%. Now,
mhm.
no, absolutely not.
You guys make your own dentist appointments now or what?
Yeah, what? See, that you just showed your dismissal of men's intelligence.
Listen, I still help my husband with some of his calendar stuff, or my ex-husband, only because I just want him to make sure he's good.
Or you're controlling him.
No, no, he asks me. Like he does. He asks me because there's
In
some
fact,
things where
the
he just gets.
mindset that women have, that we can't feed ourselves, we can't make doctor's appointments. I can outcook you,
Oh
guaranteed.
yeah, no, he's
I out
created all
I
that
can
stuff.
out clean you. I
Mhm.
managed to make my own dentist appointments and doctor's appointments. I can do it for the kids. That is
Mhm.
all bullshit. That is women trying to make themselves feel superior.
No,
And you're,
there's a
Sarah,
few
with all
things.
due respect, you're guilty of it.
There's just a few things it's
That,
just only
but that
because the
doesn't.
way it is for us and the kids. That's like
That's totally
it
different.
works out better. But
But that's not saying he can't do it.
no,
Saying
no, I never said he couldn't.
exactly. But
Mhm.
most women are saying he can't. Women say to me all the time, men can't cook. Really?
I
Who are-
I think men are better cooks than women.
Yeah, who's all the major chefs, right? I mean, come
Mhm.
on.
Yeah, I think
Eh,
men
But, it,
are better cooks than
but
women.
my argument, Sarah, is why are we even having the argument? What is the? Who
I don't know.
cares? But that's the point, right? They
Mhm.
want to have that argument because women want to feel superior to men. Well, he wouldn't survive a week without me. Really? Because I can spot about 10 million single men that have no problem feeding themselves.
Well, you guys are so simple, and I don't mean that in a
No, it's exact. You're
derogatory.
100% correct.
Right, like, you could have you ever seen the picture of, like, a 22-year-old kid who in a apartment, right, and he has, like, a TV on the floor,
Yep.
a
A
little
lawn chair.
chair, yeah,
Yep.
and then, like, a bowl to eat from
What
or
more do you
something
need?
simple, right? You guys are very simple. We are more, homemaker oriented. We're way more complex in how we think of what we need or whatever, where we're going, whatever.
Complex,
Uh
delusional. You say tomato, I say tomato. Pun intended. Right?
we like tomatoes here. Uh, but um but I think that you guys are just very
You're,
you don't
you're making an
need
argument my wife has, by the way. So,
what's
like,
that?
my wife will go back home to visit the family. She'll be gone like
Mhm,
a week, right? I
mhm,
will use one fork, one knife, one spoon, one plate the
mhm.
entire week, right? And she'll come back. She thinks I'm completely insane for doing that. You have
I
a
don't
dishwasher.
even
I don't need to
right.
run the dishwasher. I can wash my plate as soon as I'm done with it and put it in the dish drainer, right?
Mhm,
I don't need 15 plates. I don't need a doily underneath each plate. I don't need
mhm,
15 freaking different color napkins when a paper napkin will do the job. What you're that's the simplicity, right?
mhm.
That's where, like, when women complain about the mental load, women put that on themselves. Men aren't putting that on them, right? You don't need all this stuff, you
I
know.
agree with that. I agree with that
I mean,
sentiment.
I do 90% of the housework because I work from home, right?
Mhm.
My wife has a very tough job, very tough. But I don't go around bragging about it. I don't need to. I only mention it here in the sense that I'm trying to make my point, right?
Right.
We need to make TikToks talking about how I do 90% of the housework because my husband doesn't do shit. Yeah, how would that feel if I did that to my wife? Now, let's say you and I hypothetically were married and I'm making TikToks telling the world that I have to do it all because I have to carry the mental load. You think that might hurt your feelings and destroy your relationship?
I can
Damn
see
straight,
I can see what
right?
you mean by that.
And women are doing it universally on social media.
Now, what if they're both working, right? And it's like 50-50 on we're both working, we're both doing this job, and then we both come home at 5 o'clock and I get home, I make dinner, I do dishes, I do laundry, I'm taking care of the kids, I'm helping
Yeah,
with
the
homework.
classic women do everything. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm asking. But what if it is that scenario, right? Like what?
I'm sure there are instances, but that is the
Mhm.
exception by a wide margin.
Yeah.
Come on.
I feel like more people are paired,
They
right?
absolutely are.
I
It's
I think
just
that is the case,
what
but
it's going back to, and this is another we could do a whole show on this one, right? Is
mhm,
that women do not acknowledge anything men do. Generally speaking, I'm generalizing, right? You will not give us credit for anything.
mhm.
You, in fact, you'll downplay it if we do something and you see it. Well, you didn't do it right. You put the cup in wrong, dishwasher wrong. What the fuck are you doing? That knife is supposed to go this way. What the hell are you doing? Right? You folded the towel wrong. The towel's folded, honey. It's not folded the way I do it. Well, this is how my mom taught me. She's wrong.
Well, your mothers are wrong, by the way.
But you get my point, right? But this is what we have to listen to 24/7, 365, a lot of us.
Mhm. But well, do you believe in like the weaponized incompetence?
Not at all.
You don't
It's a
think that's
load
a
of no,
thing?
it's not. Come on. Weaponized incompetence.
Mhm.
It's just women justifying their hatred of men and dismissing what they do. Because I could argue women are nothing but weaponized incompetence. Have you checked your oil uh, lately, Sarah?
I take it to the
No. Years have you
have I
checked it?
checked it? I know how to check it, but I have a little
Well,
dinger
that's
that dings.
why have what? No, if it's dinging, that's not good.
Well, no, but I have the like I know when I'm supposed to go, right?
No, no,
I
no, 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 no.
schedule
You're supposed
myself.
to be checking your oil when you get
I
gas.
know how to do it. Daddy taught me how to do it.
Okay,
I know how to do
but
it.
are you doing it?
You take it out, the dipstick
See my
thing. Yeah.
you get my point here, right? You're weaponized incompetence.
I mean, my ex-husband probably wouldn't even have known how to do that. Like
Oh
I don't.
wow.
Like
Oh
I'm
come
just
on.
serious.
The problem is I got you and you know it, right? You get my point though.
Well,
I'm not
why
trying
would
to
that
pick
be
on you
weaponized incompetence? Like
because
I
you should
am
know to check your oil when you regular basis. When was the last time you checked the air in your tires?
that I
Without
have a pressurized system, so I do check. I
no,
do keep an eye on that.
no, no. It will only tell you when you look at it. Why aren't you getting
Mhm.
out and checking it?
I have the thing for it.
Uh, you have the
It's
thing for it.
well,
Are
you
you
have
doing
the
it?
well, hold on, because you have visual, right? There's things that will
You get
promote
my
you,
point though, right?
provoke you to say that tire looks a little low. Like I'm not tarded enough to not notice my
You
tire
know how many
is
women don't even know to look at the dashboard?
really.
Oh God, yes.
Well, I don't look. My dad raised me
I mean,
completely different.
I'm using extremes to make the point, right? I'm
Hmm.
not please don't take any of this personally,
Hmm.
but that's weaponized incompetence. And if you think it's ridiculous, and by the way, you'd be right if you did, right?
Hmm.
How is that any less ridiculous than what women are saying?
I don't know. Well, I guess uh, something I would have heard, right? So let's say mom usually gets up with the kids, gets them on the bus, does all of those things, and then she
Mhm.
gathers herself and then she heads to work. And dad usually doesn't have to worry about that. Mom's already got it on the systems down pat, right?
Who'd you
But
hear that
then
from?
actually there is a girl I know who was telling me
Oh,
she wasn't mad at her husband. She was laughing at the fact that she had one day where she actually had to be somewhere and her husband was doing the morning routine and it was just pure chaos and she's like
what? Because he wasn't doing it her way.
well, he didn't send the lunches. Things were forgot for practices later.
Mhm.
So it actually worked out very horribly.
Did she explain to him what needed to be done?
That there was a whole thing. Like she was like, I took the time, I made the list, I
See,
talked to
you
him, I
get
had a
my
whole
point though.
conversation.
You are relying on her viewpoint. entirely for that scenario.
Well,
Just
she doesn't. Well, okay. If she said, "I hate my husband, he's an asshole," I would not be
no. The
relying on
fact that
her.
she even said what she said to you
We
is
were talking. It was in
hold
topic. It
on,
was in
hold on,
context.
hold on. The fact that she talked to you about it is disrespecting her husband. That's how men view that.
I don't think that in context. I don't think so.
It's 100. It's 100% disrespecting her husband. She has no place
mm,
talking to you about that. That's how men feel.
in a fun
Nope.
like.
Nope.
I don't know. The way the conversation
Nope.
was, it was all
You're
in good.
justifying it because you want to be able to do it. You
To
are,
do it?
yeah,
To
because
do
women
what?
women love trashing their husbands to other women. It's part of the.
She wasn't trashing
Sure,
him
she was.
though. It
That's
was
your
all kind of
viewpoint.
in
No,
I
she
don't
was
know.
trashing him to you. She
No, I don't think
disrespected her
so.
husband and she disrespected her marriage. Absolutely 100%.
I don't
That
think it was well, hold on, hold on, hold on. There's a way that a woman or a
no,
person, any person
nope,
is speaking derogatory,
nope,
right?
wrong.
The way she was saying it was in such a fumble,
Doesn't
you
matter how she
know.
said it, Sarah. The fact that she said
Hmm,
it is the disrespect. That's how
well,
wait, let
here's
me
how I
finish.
look at it.
Let me
Here's how
finish.
I look at
Let
it.
me
That
finish.
is their marriage, and if he feels disrespected, I will let him be the
Does
man
he
that
even know
decides
about
that.
it?
I don't know. That's not my
Ah,
business.
see, that's what you're doing is dismissing men's feelings on it because that is
Mm.
100% disrespect to a man. And I guarantee you, if he finds out about it, he's gonna take her down a notch.
What about men saying how well, I mean, this could go all different directions, right? Like, oh, well, my wife is just knack, knack, knack,
Men don't
knack.
do
You
that.
know what I mean?
Men don't do that.
Are
You
you
think we do, you claim we do, but we don't. Oh, they sit in locker rooms and talk about us. No, that's what women do and then project onto men.
No, I've legit hosted panels where men have sat there and talk about women
Okay.
prattle. It's called women prattle. Yeah, yeah,
That's a
yeah.
different scenario. We're talking about individual conversations, not panels. It is totally different.
I don't know. I would feel like, I mean, this is
It's
public, right?
totally, totally, totally different.
Mm.
I'm giving you the male perspective. Now, you can do one of two things with it. You can
Mhm.
dismiss it and say, I'm wrong, or you can go, oh, wait a minute. Maybe what he's feeling is valid. That's my point.
I mean, I don't know. I don't live in feelings, but I hear what you're saying, right? I hear what you're saying. I
But you're
think
not
I think that
accepting it.
no, well, because I was there for the whole conversation. You're taking a little piece of it and not
No,
understanding the context that
you're
led up
missing, you're
to it.
still not getting to the point that I'm making. And
Mhm.
I'm not trying to be mean to you in any way. Please don't take it that
Mhm.
way. The fact she had the conversation is the be all end all. Men are very private. You do not take your shit out of the house. If she has a problem with what he did, she should have sat him down and talked to
I don't
him
think
about it.
she had a problem with it. That's what I'm saying is it's
You
I
don't
think
think she did. It doesn't matter what you think. It matters what he thinks.
mm, well, neither of them are here.
He won't even admit it. I'll tell you right now. If you ask him, he will not tell you because he'd be nuts if he did. No way. But he
Well, okay,
guarantee you
then
if he finds out.
doesn't that negate the whole concept then of, well, men need to be heard, but he's not going to admit it? So,
He's not going to admit it to you. He'll admit
well,
it to me
not
because they
even,
do all the time. You are not safe to talk to.
mm, well, yeah, I get that.
Not you
I don't
personally,
have,
women, I mean,
right.
because you will go and tell all your friends everything we said. Your friend did exactly that.
No, she explained a situation that was funny
She
and
took
comical.
private business between her and her husband
Mhm.
and shared it with someone who's not part of the dynamic.
So you don't tell funny stories about your family?
We don't really do that, no.
Like,
I'm not
uh,
saying we don't ever do it, Well,
Like,
we don't
I
spend
don't
our
know. I mean, my dad
no,
still tells the story of like when I was a little girl doing something
that's
like,
not the
and
same. That's
when I
not
burned
private.
crayons on, yeah, it was very
That's
private.
a
What
that's
if,
a child father. That's different than husband wife. You have to understand the dynamic.
oh, you're killing me, Spells. Wait a minute. Like,
I know I'm blowing your mind because you cannot understand the male thought process.
w- so like you don't tell funny stories about
You tell
stuff
funny
that
story.
happens in
If a
your
guy
family.
if a guy
That's how the context of this whole conversation that
I
in
would
which she told me
you're
it was a
taking it as funny.
whole funny because I was there for the conversation. It
Right,
was
but
hilarious.
you and her think it's
Mhm.
funny. He doesn't,
How do you know?
because I know men. See, the
Uh,
problem is,
that
why
sounds
here's
creepy though.
the why is it creepy?
How could he not laugh at the whole scenario of what
Why would that be
happened?
creepy? His feelings are creepy now?
No, no, no. The fact
That's
that
exactly what
you're
you just said,
no, you are imposing your feelings on this other man who you have no idea who he is,
but
and
I know men.
you weren't there for the conversation. You have no
You're
idea
justifying
of
it
the context behind it, right? It was all kind of like a really there was a whole conversation build up, but the whole thing was just funny,
No,
right?
it wasn't.
Like the
It was
idea of
funny to you.
it was
You're
funny that kids
you're just
didn't
not
turn up with
making the leap.
lunches and kids couldn't get like the
I
soccer
understand that.
practice and
So
this and
what?
that. It
None
was
of that
funny.
matters. None of that
Nobody was
matters.
degrading anyone. I don't understand why it's always
Because you
derogatory.
don't view it that way doesn't mean he doesn't feel disrespected. And see, women do this all the time. You live for it. Hell, you're making TikTok videos by the millions doing it. That is why men are what you're doing right now, Sarah,
Mhm.
is exactly why men are walking away.
I don't
Because it's
know. I could see
you
if
just did it to me. You
I
just
could
literally shut my feelings down. You just
well
literally
no.
did it to me.
You
Yes, you did.
impose your feelings on a
No,
man you don't know
I
in a
no.
conversation you weren't
Now
there
you're
for.
no. Wait a minute. Stop. I just told you my personal feeling was I don't know. Very condescendingly, if I took it that way, I didn't. But you just shut my entire feelings down. And that's
For
why, because you just don't like what I'm saying.
no, I
So
don't mind what you're saying. I think
you don't like it.
but I don't live in feel that's the maybe that's the difference, okay? Maybe we are two
See, now
very
they're saying I'm arrogant because I'm fighting back. See, this is
I think you
another
should
reason.
fight back. I think
No, not
everyone should
according
fight
to
back.
Leah. He's doing the same thing. He's arrogant. See, she's just proving my point too, right? If a
Mhm.
man expresses a feeling, he's going to be attacked for it. She just proved that one. If a man expresses a feeling, it's going to be dismissed and excused and justified what's happened to him by the woman he's expressing it to, which is what you did to me.
Why? By saying that I don't live in feelings?
No, by saying that you weren't sure what I was saying is true. Well, it is true for me. It is true for literally millions of men. I speak to
Well,
them. I
to
listen
impose
to
your
them.
feelings on a situation that you are not any of the parties, right? Like to
You're missing the
say
point. You're
no,
adding
well, to say I am a man, this is how men feel implies that all versus some, right? It's not a
you're
that
just
goes
trying
against
to you're
well,
just
no,
trying
that
to
well,
wiggle out here.
hold on. You're taking a very innocent in that I think maybe that's you're putting me in defensive mode because you're taking a very innocent conversation with a friend of everyone having a good time and laughing at a funny
Mhm.
comical situation. Nobody was derogatory. I know this woman loves her husband very, very much so.
I would
I
argue she
know,
doesn't.
but see, so now you're negating what I know and you're
No,
imposing
I am saying
hold on, stop.
no, she's not getting it, Sam. You're
Stop.
right.
Stop for a second. That's my friend. I know their relationship. I know they're very happy. I've had lots of prolonged conversations about all of the good things and the camping and the this and that. And You weren't there for the conversation. You don't know the context of the conversation. You don't understand where we were going in that. Nobody was degrading anyone,
Mhm.
right? And you're taking that and you are saying she's disrespecting her husband.
Yep.
You know nobody in that
I
conversation,
don't need to.
right? But you don't know him. You don't.
I
So
don't need to.
maybe he doesn't
You
have
are not
feelings.
getting the point. You are totally not getting the point. The point is black and white. The fact that she took personal marital business and shared it. Stop. See,
Yeah.
you're not even willing to listen to me.
I'm
So there's no
listening.
point.
I'm
No, you're
listening.
not.
I'm
No, you're
listening.
not. Sarah, you're not. Because the
You're
minute I start saying that, you no.
You're
End of
saying
conversation.
personal marital
There is
business.
no
We're
point in further
talking about
conversation on it.
we're talking about a whole family funny scenario. You've never told funny stories like something that happened to your
You're
kid or your
justifying
husband or
it.
something. You've never talked about that? Like
Sarah,
sitting
Sarah,
around telling the funniest memories or like,
Sarah.
"Oh yeah, this one time we forgot this and then this happened." You've never
Nope.
told those types of stories.
Sarah, you're trying to justify it. There's no reason to even go there. She disrespected her husband by taking personal, private things and sharing it with someone else. That's it for men. There's nothing else to be discussed. And you're not going to accept that. And I respect you for that.
Mhm.
But that does not mean you're right. I can tell you right now, most men, maybe not all, would view that as disrespect. And you may not like it. You may disagree with it. You may try and justify why it's okay. But to say anything other than, okay, I understand, is demeaning to men.
Well, I mean, that is your thought process, right?
That is the
I
majority of
well, here's
men's
the
process.
disagreement. Let's go down to the crux of the disagreement. You're talking about personal marital information and sharing it publicly. That means I wouldn't tell you, "Oh yeah, John took me out on a wonderful date the other night. We got date night, the kids, we got a sitter and we
That's
got
positive.
wine." But that's what I'm saying. The context of the story was about the whole situation
That her
and
that
the
her husband
funniness.
couldn't handle getting the kids to
But
school.
see, that wasn't the way it was presented.
So you say.
Okay, but all right. So you're not there for the story. You're not there for the
You're
context. You
you're
don't know the
you're not
couple.
going to let this go. You see what you're proving, Sarah, is women will never responsibility. They will always find a way to push back and absolve themselves. And that's what you're doing.
I'm not. What am I absolving?
You're absolving that conversation and saying it's not disrespect because the men feel that way. There's men
I
in the
could
comments
see.
saying that are agreeing with me.
I could see if she said, "Oh my god, John completely screwed everything
You're
up.
just not
This
going to let
was
it go, are you?
terrible." Blah. Well, I don't understand the context that you're coming from is from a negative light. But then I say, "Oh, if you okay, let's start with logic. You said your claim is if you say anything about personal private marital stuff, it is wrong."
Negatively.
No, that is not
Negatively.
what you said.
Okay.
That
Now
was
you're
not
twisting things.
that was not what
Sarah.
you said.
Sarah,
You
you're
said
just doing what women
sharing
do.
no,
You're just
no,
picking
I'm
every
trying to
little
take
thing. You are
well,
doing what
but
women do.
okay, I'm trying
Own
to
it.
go base stuff. I'm trying to logically break down what you're saying to me. You said that is sharing personal, private, and I even asked you, I said, sharing any stories about like fun
Negative
or chill,
stories.
but you didn't say that.
Okay, so I didn't say it. Should I have to say it?
Yes, that's
So
very important if there's a
so why?
definitive direction
Why?
because I asked you the
So
difference later.
so in your mind, it's different. It's okay if it's negative, but I'm saying it's not.
I'm not saying sharing negative, and that's what I'm
But
telling
that's
you.
what
The
your friend did.
story that was sharing was a funny comical moment.
No, what it was her telling you that her husband was not able to get the kids off to school.
All right. I will accept the fact that we do not agree on this matter
We don't
on
have to
that.
agree on it. It's because
I
Here's
was
the
there
point.
for the story. I was
I
there for the
understand it.
context. It was
I
all funny.
I understand it,
Everyone
Sarah,
had a fun
but
day, and
you
here's
have just
why.
proven why it's not safe to talk to women, because you will not accept what we have to say. You will look for every way out of it. And that's what you've done for me for the last 10 minutes. It's a simple cut and dried thing.
Well,
You don't agree with me.
to be
That's fine.
though,
End of discussion.
to be
But
fair
I'm
though, I
wait, let me
gave
finish.
you
Let
you.
me finish, because you're not letting me finish at all.
I
You're cutting me
apologize.
off repeatedly. Okay. To men, that is disrespect. Plain and simple. It does not matter any of the other bullshit. You're introducing straw men into it. If you go around putting a negative connotation to anyone else of something that happened in your marriage, men view that as disrespect. It's cut and dried. That's it. That's the only conversation to have.
I
If you can
agree with
agree with
that.
it, well, then if you agree with it, you should have told your friend this is not appropriate for you to be doing.
Again,
I will shut up at this point.
there's a lot of context you're missing, but that's fine. That's fine. I think if she came to me saying, "Oh my God, John failed at this and blah blah blah," and was complaining about it and whatever, I then yes, you are 100%. I agree with that. That's why I asked the difference, and that's why when you were saying earlier, it's very important to utilize our words very specifically. So if you add the negative
Yeah.
connotation in there, that does make sense.
Okay.
But yeah. Angel Warrior says there's no denying that men and women are different, but we were never meant to be separate. The unfortunate reality is they are purposely trying to erase men and women as a way to control us.
Well, that's true. I mean, that's the government. That's what he's talking about is the government there.
Oh, really? They
Oh
are
yeah.
unfortunate
Oh,
reality is they're
their
purposely trying
government
to
is
erase men.
they're, it's siloing everybody. Right? It's gender. It's based on gender, race, every spectrum. Right? I mean, they
Uh-huh.
want us at each other's throats all the time in every way. Left, right, liberal, conservative, black, white, purple, green, fuchsia, whatever. Right? Men, women, all of that. It's all designed to create division. And I firmly believe that it's largely due to the government trying to make it happen.
Well, I would even agree they're going as far as children. Separating children for their parents, like that's a big piece trying to kind of
The whole educational system.
yes, that's a big mess, and I would not want to get anywhere. I wish we could just dismantle all of it, but even sending them to colleges are some common talking points I've heard too. Is colleges are meant to kind of separate, especially when your foundations are built so solid in with your family, right?
Mhm.
That's where your foundations, and then you go off to college, and then they're able to kind of reconfigure all of that and almost like brainwashy. And then these kids come home and it's like a completely different kid. I would definitely agree with that.
It's sad, but it's United States either. You're seeing it worldwide, right? It's now some people, they there's a cabal and all this other happy horse shit. I don't know that that's the case. I think the government
Mhm.
likes the power it has. When I say government, I mean in the US, in the UK, everywhere, Japan, whatever government, right? They
Mhm.
like to be in power and they want to stay in power, and they want to keep the masses under control. And the best way to do that is keep the masses fighting each other. When you
Mhm.
look at it from, let's say, I hate going into politics, but let's say we look at it from left versus right. It goes back to what I was talking about way back when, which is if you look at what we agree on, the overwhelming majority of us would agree probably on 85 to 90% of things. But that 10% we'll go to
Mhm.
war with each other on, right? And that's where they benefit from it. I don't like either party. I despise them both. All right. I think they're, and I used to run a radio show where I interviewed politicians. And I was the one that stirred it up because I was in the middle, right? Because
Mhm.
I don't follow either party's narrative. I call them both out. But when you actually sit and talk with them, you can kind of get the sense of what's going on. And to Angel's point, I do think that it's a means of control over us. And when you look at Congress, And every one of them, both parties, are becoming multimillionaires. I mean, you get into Congress, you're guaranteed to be worth millions, guaranteed on a salary that's what, $180,000 a year. You know,
Yeah.
it's they like the power, they like the money, and that's what they're doing. And when you look at every aspect of what is out there for conflict right now, politically speaking, right? It's always about gender. It's always about race. It's always about, this, that, and everything else. But when you actually step back and look at it, we agree on almost 80, 85. It's hard to put a number on it, but you know what I mean, right? And we forget all that. And we try and literally kill each other now over 10%.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it's a really hot mess. I think societally, politically, I would even say on a global scale, like we're our objectives, our goals, and everything that people are going for are just complete opposite of everything we actually need. We need
Oh,
to
wholeheartedly agree.
stabilize. We need to the family units are destroyed. The
Mhm.
communities, we're not community people anymore. That's destroyed. We don't like to go outside. If somebody knocks at my door, I think something's wrong, like somebody's dead. They're knocking
Yeah,
because somebody's dead,
yeah,
right? Like, because it would only be the cops knocking to tell me someone's dead. Like, why would somebody come to my
nope,
door?
100% agree.
um and I think that all of those kind of lead into everything else that you're kind of going into, because we don't care to get involved in everything else, because we just like stay in my little bubble and do all of these things. and
Yeah, we've
and
become siloed, like we talked about
yeah.
silos with like
Mhm.
gender and all that. We're
Yeah.
siloed individually, right?
Yep.
I mean, I don't go out much from my house. Um, it's just not something I do. I go to the gym every day and I have my peeps there, but I don't like if somebody new comes in, I don't go talking to them or anything like that. I'm siloed off from them. I have my bubble. My wife talks about you have your bubble and you never go out of it. She's right, right?
Yeah.
And it's um, you know, that's bad in the sense that if I didn't have other alternatives to get other people's viewpoints, like through my channels and all that, I could see where I could potentially become blinded to everything else. And I think that's what's happening, right? Is
Mhm.
we become in our little bubbles. And if you're not and I get the sense you're like me. We're looking at all different viewpoints, right? We
Mhm.
may not agree with some, but we're look. I listen to both sides on everything, right? Most people don't. Most people listen to, either Fox News or MSNBC to just give as an example, right? Well, I look at both of them and I think they're both full of shit, right? It's ludicrous. And you're sitting there looking at it, going, "Are we really going to buy this one?"
Right.
But that's, to use it as an example, but that's carrying across everything now, even into medical stuff. And I'm like, come on, you know. Like somebody mentioned about COVID. What the killer for me on COVID was when they argued, and I owned a business that was shut down, right?
Mhm.
So I could not open my gyms because I was going to kill grandma if I did. Okay. But Home Depot, Home Depot across the street, because they were necessary, right?
Mhm.
And
Right.
then they come out with, well, they open the restaurants. You can go to the restaurant, but you have to wear your mask till you sit down.
Oh
Once you
my
sit down, you
god,
can
it was
take it off.
so obnoxious.
So I'm at this height now. I'm fine. If I come up to this height, I just killed grandma.
Right.
And we bought it as a
It was wretched.
and I'm
That
like,
was the most, like,
I lost a
that was the
YouTube channel
most,
over it.
we are all sheep, just follow to your pen, little sheep,
And I
and
lost
just
the
do what you
channel over
want.
it,
Oh,
right?
that's
Because I had
dreadful.
a channel. Biden came out
Mhm.
in July of, was it 21, right? And emphatically said, if you get the vaccine, you cannot get COVID and you cannot transmit it.
Oh my god, that was
All
the
I said, Sarah, was this:
mm.
the data does not support what the president just said, because I know of at least 15 people that have gotten the vaccine
Uh-huh.
that have gotten COVID and spread it to
Uh-huh.
others. YouTube took that channel down and it's still not back. for
Did you see
misimpeachment.
the new everyone who got shut down for that thing
Yeah, well, I
can
still haven't
actually
got mine back.
reapply? Did you reapply for it?
No, but
They just came
I
out.
still
We
don't.
covered it actually.
Yeah, I so don't care about that, and I'm
Oh,
not
okay.
going into that space again because I
Mhm.
don't want to do politics anymore.
Yep.
But I mean, the point of it all, though, right, is we bought all that shit because we're sheep. You're right, to your point,
Mhm.
right? And that's where we all need to step back and go on all this stuff. Where's our instead of looking at our differences first, where's our commonality,
Mhm.
right? I'm kind of answering your question you asked a couple hours ago, which is how do we fix relationships and all that.
Mhm.
First place, I guess I'm going to answer it now. We got to look at our commonality, right? You and I have a disagreement on how we view things outside of, when talking to other people. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I would argue you and I probably agree on pretty much everything else, right?
Mhm.
So why would I ever view you negatively or hold something against you or hate you or, call you, all the terms they use,
Yeah, I hear a lot of them.
why would I do that, right? You strike me as a wonderful person, right? A decent human being. I disagree with you on one thing. Who the fuck cares? But that's where we're at, right?
Mhm.
And when you look at relationships, that's really where we're at. It's like
Yeah.
if, and I think it comes more from women than men. If you're not perfect, the perfect spouse, right? You're not worthy. And, when you look at why women file for divorce, it's not abuse, it's not cheating. It's I can do better in some form or another, or I think I
I
can.
thought the percentage was financial, always financial. That's the number
Financial's the
one slot.
financial's the trigger,
Mhm.
right? So the number one trigger is a man losing his job. That's without question, right? But if you were married and your husband lost his job and your marriage was great and you loved him, would you divorce him?
Mm.
But if you were not happy and he lost his job, ah, I can use that as my reasoning to get out. That's what's going on there, right? No, no, I've been married 3 times. I always joke now. I got to count the years. I've been married for 36 years to 3 different women.
All together?
Yeah. Um, in all 3 cases, at one time or another, I lost a job. None
Oh,
of
no.
Well, just various. I mean, for a
Mhm.
while, I was for whatever reason from 2000 to 2011, I lost 4 jobs because the companies folded. I guess it's my fault. I was the jinx, but it was never my fault, right?
Right.
None of my wives, even she who shall not be named, um, ever even thought about leaving me because I lost my job, right?
Right, I don't think that would be,
There has to be an underlying thing for that trigger to come into play, is my point,
right.
right? So when people say it's financial, you're right, but that's a trigger, that's not the cause.
Right.
And that's
But
why I say we got to be careful with all that.
aren't women, post-divorce, significantly worse off financially than
Men
when they
and
were
women are.
married?
Both are.
Yeah.
Yeah, without question. It's
So,
it's
because you were
ludicrous
saying that women are leaving the men for the bigger, better deal.
in their
I'm
mind.
I'm assuming financially, but that's not
Mm.
the
I
reality
think
of what's happening, right?
I think it's more, I call it chasing princess syndrome, right? It's he's not perfect. And their friends, especially the divorced ones, get in their ear.
Mhm.
He's not perfect. He didn't do the towels folded right. Blah, 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 and right. And I have women telling this. This is not me saying, it's women telling me this, right?
Mhm.
Women who are happily married. My co-host Lindsay. Women are constantly in her face trying to put her husband down, right? Well, you could do better. You can get Chad or Rico. Blah 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 blah. Right?
Poor
And
Rico. Poor Rico's get a
Chad,
bad
Rico, or
rap.
Tyrone. Those are the ones I use, right? Um, and I do. I mean, again, I'm not saying this is universal, but I'm
Mhm,
generalizing. But I think it applies because you see women actually saying it. Okay,
mhm,
um, I think that comes into play a lot, whereas men aren't that way,
mhm.
generally speaking. Right? That's why men don't file for divorce. I think men are more committed than women these days. Women are hypergamy is real, whether you want to admit it or not. It is real, right? Women are always looking to step up. And they're all about the income and the status. And his income and his status is the best way for her to get it, right?
Well, we have to decipher though, because hypergamy is one thing, but monkey branching is a whole
That's a
secondary.
it's secondary, but they're intertwined, right? They're
I,
both. It's both.
yes, because hypergamy gets a really bad rep, and I always like to make sure I clarify that because
What-
as if I was a father, right, and I would want my daughter to be hypergamous to find her husband. I would want her to find better. I would want her to do better. I would want her to do that because I know that my daughter will be taken care of the rest of her life by a very well-off man. The better she gets, the better she will be,
That's
right?
women
Because
speaking right there.
well, well, would you want your daughter to get the lowest loser on the block that doesn't have,
Does he make her happy?
I don't think happiness is important at all.
Wow.
Sorry.
So all
That's
you
what I
care
say.
about is the money. Got it.
No, 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 no. No,
Yeah, yeah,
what
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying,
yeah.
no, not at all.
If you're
There's
not
a lot of
so it's
different factors because if we live off of happiness, then that's preferential, right? That's just what
no.
makes you happy because happiness can change from one point to another. It's a
Happiness will always
degree.
change. It's always a
Yeah.
degree. But if
So
you're
that's what I'm
generally
saying.
happy, if he's treating her well and he's happy and she's happy, I don't care whether he makes 40,000 a year or 400.
Well, treating well and happiness are two different things. Taking
Not really.
care, if I looked at it as, is he stabilized? Is he taking care of her?
What do you
Are
mean
they
by taking care
making
of her?
like protected? Are they in a stable lifestyle? Whatever it is, doesn't. I'm not
Oh,
saying
is
he has
it?
to be a billionaire at all. I'm
No, but
saying,
he's got to be a provider.
well, provider in a way of do are they safe? Are they comfortable? I'm okay with being the bottom of the barrel. I have no issue with not having money or having money either direction, right? So when I
Are
say
you?
stay yeah, very listen, I've had no pots to piss in and worked my
Oh,
ass off to get
as have
I
I, but
yeah, I have no issue.
you've already equated him being a provider of some sort, whatever
No,
that
well,
means.
okay, so, if they both work, that's fine. If he works and he wants her to be a stay-at-home mother, if that works best for them, that's fine. If she works and he wants to be a stay-at-home dad, if that's what works for them, that's fine. I don't have any issue with, women not bringing their work to the table, in whether it's financially or as the mother of his children or whatever. I think both have a stable
I'm
piece in
laughing at some
their
of the
pie.
comments, sorry. I'm not laughing at you, I'm laughing at the comments. I just wanna make sure you know that.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. But what I'm saying is, if like happiness is an effect when everything else comes into play, right? Now, again, I'm not saying he has to be a billionaire, but are they stabilized? Is his
What
daughter
do you mean by
is
stabilized?
like are you is your relationship stable? Is your household stable? Do you have goals and purposes for your family? Are you developing and working towards those things together? Are you going to church? Like all of these things that are involved at the base level of a relationship. Because if that's fine, then again, happiness is going to be a side effect of it. But I don't think happiness would be my core like as long as you're happy, I'm fine. No, no, I like if my daughter said, well, he makes me happy, but he's like snorting cocaine off of a stripper's asshole. I have
That's
a problem
different.
with that.
But if she said, he's a barista at Starbucks,
Mhm.
and I'm gonna have to take care of him, but he makes me happy.
Are they trying to have a family? Like,
Sure.
and this is what he wants to do for the rest of his life.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
Well, all right. I have no issue with somebody wanting to be a barista at Starbucks.
I'm just using that as an example.
Yeah, if my daughter was had the ambition on the other side, fine. If it's gonna go that way, if that's
What
all,
if
if
she
that's
wanted to
what
be a
makes.
barista at Starbucks too?
Well, we're gonna have a reality check with the Lululand on what it costs to live out in this real world, because I'm not gonna be having you living in my basement for the rest of
So
your
the bottom
life.
line is it comes down to money is my point, right?
No, absolutely not. I think there's an
So
ambition. No, that there's okay. Can you let me ask you this? Can two people working as baristas in a coffee shop have their own uh apartment or condo or whatever, and be able to not materially, but be able to plan for their futures, have babies, do all of those things, and actually be comfortable and stable? Because you said the number one issue is financial, and that's why people divorce.
now I said the number one trigger is financial. That's not the issue.
Right. Sorry,
That's a totally
trigger,
different
right?
thing.
So, are they stable and safe for their family in order to push the further development of their family and grow together?
Yes, they can do that. Why can't they? I did it.
If they're just a barista and they have no ambitions of going
I was
anywhere else.
a French fry maker at McDonald's.
Mhm.
You can grow from there. What's the problem?
Oh, I have no issue with that. That's why I asked you, is that all
But
they wanna do?
but yes, that's all. Let's say, hypothetically speaking, I'll use
Mhm,
myself as an example, right?
mhm,
When I met my first wife, I was a swing manager at McDonald's, making like $4 an hour,
mhm,
right? At a time when, obviously things are different. That you can be anything you want job wise and have a
mhm,
happy life. I believe that. It's a matter of perspective, right? And expectations. If you think you need to have a new car every other year or a new phone or any of this other crap, right?
mhm,
No, your point is 100% valid.
mhm,
But if you're okay, maybe in a not 5-bedroom McMansion
mhm,
and all that shit, right? I mean, Sarah, I have money, okay? I'm not saying that to brag.
mhm.
I could go live on the beach directly if I wanted to. I live in a 900 square foot house. All right. If you saw me out, you think I wouldn't have a pot to piss in. Okay. Like we were talking about vehicles earlier. I bought a
Mhm,
new vehicle 2 months ago, paid cash for it.
mhm.
It's a 12-year-old Jeep.
Yeah. Oh, I'm all about
But
practicality. Yeah.
okay. But could I go buy a Ferrari and pay cash for it? Yeah, I could.
Mhm. But that would
Why?
be foolish.
It
That's
would be
yeah,
right. But my
I'm totally
perspective
with you there.
but my perspective is, right? My wife and I have mutual values. What we value is each other, not
Mhm.
stuff. We don't care, right? I have my toys. Like to my right here, there's a 85-inch screen TV. I wanted it, I bought it. Okay.
Mhm.
I could afford it. If I couldn't afford it, I wouldn't have bought it. Right. When, when I was starting out, like I said, I was making, I mean, $80 a week. I mean, that's what a take home was, right?
Mhm.
We had an apartment. Was it the best apartment? Oh, hell no, right? Um, we furnished it we had shelves which were two concrete blocks with a slab of wood across them. Okay. I mean, that's the way it was. That's how we started out. And we started building from there, to your point, right?
Right.
But there was never this expectation that I had to do more. And that's carried
No,
through.
yeah, I think the concept where I'm going is like I believe in young love, growing up as with high school and getting. I think that's the best way to go. I really
Robin's
wish
laughing
more
at these
people did it.
comments.
Oh, they're silly.
Oh, I love them. Oh, I eat them up. I love them. I
Uh,
love when
but
they attack me. It's great.
oh, I'm sure yours is not liking me at this point.
Oh, no, I think it's yours because I don't recognize the names,
Oh yeah. But
and I'm good with
so
it.
but the love of that, I believe high school love, whatever, grow and do something together. But I would still want to see, I would look at the character traits, the stability behind that, right? I'm not saying he's got to be rich. I'm not saying he's got to want to be rich. All I'm saying is I need to see that there's ambition, there's uh we did have somebody drop backstage actually. If you want to take on one caller and then we can close it out. Ambition, stability, so on and so
I
forth.
gotta pee.
Me too. Oh my god. Let's take quick.
Yeah, but I'm old. You're not.
I've been like dying. Let's go ahead and take a little.
Let's take the
tinkle.
call and then call it because I really,
All right,
really
fair
gotta
enough.
go.
All right, I'll bring Dusty. Dusty's up. All right, I see you. All right, quick call.
Hey, thanks for having me up. I was going to push back a little bit on the. I just heard the part about what would you want for your daughter, and I want to push back on that. That was not woman speak. I got a daughter, and I would not want her to be. I don't want her to get with a loser. I don't want to take care of her for her whole life and have to pick up his slack and deal with that. Now, I don't want her to be with a complete douchebag. There's a balance there.
So, what would you define as a successful man? How much money?
It's not a dollar amount; it's a lifestyle. So, if he can provide her with,
How are they separate?
Because depending on where you live and when you're talking about, right?
So you have to. So I'm not trying to fight with you, but I'm saying,
Right.
In order to have that, you have to have enough money to have it.
Right.
So down to a dollar amount.
All right. I live in the Midwest, and I think that, the high 5 digits seems adequate, but it's not going to be so much my number as her number, right? If she's
I agree with you. Yes,
happy,
I
I'm
agree.
happy.
So let me ask you: if she said to you, "I don't care about the money. I just want he and I are happy the way we are, being, whatever," right? You would not be okay with that.
I don't know that I would believe it. I think that money and attraction are all tied too tightly together. That to be the truth. I would think that she was just young and a little naive.
Fair enough. It's again, that's dismissing her in a manner of speaking. You're not trusting her judgment, and that may be because you're her dad, right? And I'm not saying that in a negative way. That's kind of our job,
Sure.
right? Is to look out, right? But like with my daughters, and I have 3 of them. One's not married or even in a relationship, but the other 2 are. And my oldest daughter, when she married her husband, I didn't think he was going to be what he actually turned out to be, because he had no ambition that way, and I was okay with it because she said to me, he makes me happy, right? Whatever that is. And I have to trust my daughter enough and trust that I raised my daughter well enough to let her make that decision. Now, that's not in any way to negate anything you're saying, right? It's at some point I have to step away as dad and know that my daughter is a capable woman who's capable of deciding for herself. And if she falls, I will be the first one there to pick her up, but I have to let her do her thing. And I think most dads are that way, but I hear what you're saying. I'm not trying to put you down in any way. Please don't take it that way.
And I agree with everything you said, really. But some point,
You're Dusty. Your mic. Dusty. You're going in and out. Your signal.
Yeah.
Let me go ahead and I'll drop him. I see where he's going with that. I think we started the conversation by saying women are emotional creatures. We both agreed with that. So my only pushback would be, if we're such emotional creatures, why would you trust us with our own feelings to make big decisions for our life? But
that's a good point.
I'm going to wrap up saying, Tom says, good interview tonight. Not calling in is the best thing I could, as Jax have a great evening. Jax is getting walked out, I guess.
I don't know
Dan,
who Jax is, so.
it's his dog.
Oh, okay. My
uh,
dog is sound asleep and hasn't moved for 3
I
hours.
know mine are upstairs hanging out. Dan, this was so. I love. There was a little spice in, which I love that.
Oh, we gotta
Little
have spice.
pushback. If
You
not,
gotta
this
have
would be
spice.
boring for our people.
Exactly.
But this has been such a pleasure. I would look forward to absolutely having you back another time, maybe with
I
a
would
different
love it.
topic or different people. Maybe we could put a small group of people together. Like, just get you a bunch of women. How's that sound?
Bring it on.
And you can just yell it all.
I don't yell. I just, I will. Let me say this, Sarah. I have done, I don't know how many of these. I think I've had the most fun with you, to be honest
Aww.
with you. Accepting my own show, because Lindsay will kill me if she sees that. But and the reason is because we can have an honest conversation with each other. Yeah, we got spicy. You know what? Good. Nothing wrong with that, right? I respect the hell out of you for standing up for yourself. I have no issue with that, right? With those situations, you don't agree on something, fine, right? We can agree to disagree and move on. That's what we need to get to. And that's the final thing I want to say is this is where what you saw here, if you're watching this, is what we need to become, right? Yeah, we can have a little spice here and there, but in the end, we can still be friends.
Yeah, absolutely.
And leave and part amicably. And that's what it's all about. And that's why I do what I do, believe it or not.
Good. Good. Well, yes, Dan, this is such a pleasure. I'd love to definitely pick up the torch on this one and do some more later on. And thank you to your audience for sharing audiences with me and to my audience. This was such a pleasure. I'm gonna go ahead and end it, and then we'll kick out and go to the restroom.
All right, thanks, Sarah.
Thank you. Bye bye.